Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody? Sorry, I'm on a little bit late tonight, but better late than never. Yesterday, they've changed the summer hours to at the plant 4 10s and no work Friday. I'm doing 4 9s and 4 hours Friday, so I'll be able to do the class Friday, Saturday, Sunday now, and it's just. I got to work till a little bit later, 5:30, so it makes it a little bit. I went to the pool for my back. Went to the chiropractor on Monday, and I got my left hip is here and my right hip is here, and it's because I'm turning sideways to do the computer when I'm on the couch, as I'm watching straight to TV. And so it's the turning is fucking up my posture, which is fucking up my hips. And that's why I'm getting the pain. So it's really a 2 inch difference. So I'm doing stretches. So I really need the pool to do these stretches and runs. But now I understand. So now when I'm on the couch, I'm not doing the computer on the right anymore. And I'm trying to get very ideally you're straight. I'm looking at the computer. I'm straight. I'm not turned sideways. So that's my big thing. So there, and then with the longer workday, I prefer to come on earlier, but working till like 5:30, and then eating. I had to make chicken tonight, so Thursday should be I don't know. For sure, I'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But if I hear something, I'll come on Thursday. But I want to come in at least 4 days a week. But now Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I can do like Tuesday or Wednesday. So what the hell's going on? Okay, so somebody's got to explain language to me. Listening to the Tiger game on the way home, and the guy doesn't say high or low. Now it's below the strike zone or above the strike zone or inside the strike zone or outside. What the fuck is that? What do you mean strike zone? Just call it the pitch is low, the pitch is high. We understand the strike zone. But I don't like it because he's like doing it on purpose. It's some liberal bullshit. It really bothers me. It's the same as in football. Instead of a first down, it's now he got to the line to gain instead of he got the first down. What is going on with sports and these new terms? And it's almost like they can't say it because if I'll listen to on TV, it's the line to gain, the line to gain, above the strike zone, below the strike zone. What the fuck are these guys doing? So it's really bothersome. Hard to even watch and listen to these bubbleheads doing that shit. And it's, I'm sure, on purpose, and I'm sure it's all socialistic and liberal. And I can't like it. So anyway, let's see what's going on. Okay. So silver's up 7 cents, 23.64 on fake Comex, price fixed, and gold's 1965, up 409. So they're still waiting for us. So you can still get your gold about 2100 for the e-gold, about 2080 for the Maple Leaf, the Cougaran. And then the silver is still 23, add 4 is 27, $28. It's a joke. Now, when I go on eBay, I'm noticing a couple things. The prices were up like 2,300 for an ounce of gold through most places, but then I realized it was JM Bullion. JM Bullion's a ripoff. Avoid them. They are very expensive. They give you a price if you buy 100 ounces of gold. It's this price. And if you use an e-check. But if you play with your debit or credit card, and how are you going to pay them? It's like $100 more. So they're full of bullshit, JM Bullion. I wouldn't buy from them. Now, the one place I've seen on eBay is, I think it's Liberty or something. And they're very good. And when they sell gold, like he's got an ounce for $20.90. And JM Bullion's like 2,200. So fuck you, JM Bullion. but for 2090, but you can buy multiple. So if you're going to buy 2 or 3 now, you don't need an ounce. You can buy half ounces or quarter ounces, but the half ounces seem to be about $1,200. If you're going to buy 2, it's $2,400. You're better off buying the ounce. The quarter ounces are about 6, so they're about $2,400. So something's really screwy going on. I'm noticing the prices are much higher for whatever that's worth. So keep that in mind. I'm just gonna, there we go. So keep that in mind. You want to shop around. Again, we're the market for everything: gold, silver, ribs, whatever. So keep that in mind. But I think you want to sell on eBay. I'm not quite sure. I'd rather buy at my coin store if I can get it for $20.95 or $2,100, and I can look at the coin and I know it's gold and I can walk out with it. I'd much rather do that than, then I got to trust eBay that I give him the money, that he'll send it. So I try to look for a guy with a lot of feedback. I think this Liberty, something like that, is he's very, let me get you the exact name. Yeah, it's Liberty Coin. So he's got 100% positive feedback, and he's done quite a few. But his prices seem to be a little more reasonable. Let's see. Let's go back to page 1. So like here, he's 2,100, and that's fine. That's a pretty good price. And if you go into it, you can see his feedback. He's got 400,000, right? So that's a guy with 100%. So I trust that if he's got 400,000, he's probably okay. See, now what you got to be careful with is some of these are priced as collectibles, and you don't want them as collectibles. We're not doing good corn. We're buying an ounce of gold. We're not buying like a certain year and paying more. So understand that. Like here, he's got a Maple Leaf 2069. Okay, that's a good price. So if we go into it, see, he sells bulk, and then how many's he got left? So he says, I've sold 9, but I have more than 10 available. So that means you could buy 10 from him if you wanted, or whatever. I asked him, how does he do it? See, then you got the good feedback. So you're like, I feel comfortable buying a gold from him. Now I'm going to get 2 checks next week. I get the Social Security check Monday. I should. I keep seeing these extra checks, but I never get them. And then I get my paycheck will come on Thursday. I'm going to buy some gold next week. But anyway, I got this as I'm watching this guy. So when you go into his auction, he's selling multiples. And plus, okay, so here he goes. He's 2106, but I don't care about a 2023. I don't need that. I just assume get something cheaper. But notice Here's a quarter ounce is 624. If you buy four of them, that's $2,500. Well, buy the ounce for 2,000 or 2,100. But I can see if you want to buy that. Now here's a Britannia 2070. This is why I tend to buy not US, because it doesn't matter. I'm buying an ounce of gold. To now here, the quarter ounce Philharmonic's only 551. So that's only 2,200. I just showed you 2,400. So let's see. You got to be careful with these tenth of an ounce, because if you times it by 10, it's actually 2,300 for 1 ounce. So you're better off. Now this is a little bit more. This is 2,115 versus 2,100. It's a little bit more. I don't know why. Again, he's over market. So here you go. Here's a Maple Leaf for 2090, a Krugerrand for 2070. I'd buy the Krugerrand. I'm buying an ounce of gold. I don't care. And that's about it. So anyway, this guy, Liberty Coin, I think he's in California, so he's probably struggling there. So if you're going to go into eBay to buy because you can't find it at your store, or you don't want to go, if you went to JM Bullion, it would be huge. Now here, if you want a half ounce, this is a reasonable price, and it's Britain. So, you don't necessarily need the U.S. You can buy Maple Leaf on 1/20th of an ounce, but 20 times 14 is 2,800. So that's a bad price for 20, but it allows you to buy gold for $146. You can buy a 20th of an ounce. Well, when it hits 50,000, a 20th of an ounce, you'll be okay. But you prefer, this is really the best buy at 1 ounce, 2085. That's your best buy, because once you start breaking it out, it's okay to buy 1/4 ounce, but if you're thinking of buying 4 quarters instead of an ounce, you're crazy. You want to buy the ounce. But if you just want, I'm going to buy a 1/4 ounce, I'm going to buy a quarter because it's only 500, then that makes sense. That would be a good point. This guy's got a lot of Mexican pesos. I wouldn't trust anything Mexico. Now be careful. This is a gold sovereign. You don't know what it is. Does it say gold on it? And how? It's not like a 1/4 ounce. It's a sovereign, like in the James Bond movie and From Russia with Love. He pulls out 25, 50 sovereigns, but they're like, this is, well, it says it's less than a 1/4 ounce, 0.2354 ounces. And I don't think it says gold on it, so you could struggle selling that. I only see the one eagle. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. Baseball. Well, let's see. We got NBA tomorrow. Let's see what the line is. So in the NBA, tomorrow we got Denver minus 2.5 over Miami. Now Miami won game 2, so now they psychologically know they can win. Then you have, off of a loss, the Denver, who's the better team, we think off of a loss should be good, but they're favored. And again, Boston was favored in Miami and couldn't win. So I don't know. This game I leave alone. If you have to bet it, I guess I'd bet Denver off of the loss. And then whoever loses this game, I would bet back. So if Denver wins, then I'd bet Miami in game 4. If Miami wins, then they go up 2-1. I'd bet Denver. Nothing big. And again, we don't know. I mean, Miami, they're the best 8 seed I've ever seen. I'll tell you that. All right. So really not much. Baseball. I had a lock yesterday. Tampa Bay. Our friend McCullough was pitching. I think it was McCullough. And he's like 7-1 with a 2 ERA. So I locked that, and that one won. I lost Texas over, but again, I had more on the lock than I did on Texas. Tonight, I don't think there's anything left. Sorry about that. I didn't have a lock today anyway. Okay, yeah, we have a few. We have 2 games. We got it in 10 minutes. We got the Cubs at the California. Wisniewski 2-2 with a 4.81 against Tyler Anderson 2-1 with a 5.47. Should be an over game. Over under is 10. I'd bet it lightly. Seattle, San Diego. Gilbert for Seattle 3-3 with a 4.08. Musgrave 3-2 with a 4.71 for San Diego. Over under a 7.5 seems very low. I would bet that over too. Just because both pitchers are not, they're over 4. So I don't really see what the option is here. So both bad pitchers. But the problem is they pitch 4 or 5 innings and their bullpen comes in and it's a whole different game because the guys just have to pitch 1 inning. Well, that's not hard to do. So that's the thing. Philly beat Detroit 1-0. I'm happy about that. See, Tyler Alexander's got a 6 ERA and he pitches a 3-hit, 1 run. And that's how you would expect more. And Walker had a 5 ERA. You would have expected an over game with a 6 ERA and a 5 ERA, and it's 1-0. So you just never know with that. It helps, but again, it's not the whole thing. Miami beats KC 6-1. You can just bet against KC in Oakland. Tampa Bay again. Zach Eflin 8-1 with a 2.97 against Verlin 3-2 with a 4.40. So I would have bet Tampa again. With the Eflin was 7-1 with it was a pretty low ERA, although it got lower with the shutout. So that's what you're really looking for now is an Eflin, a McCullough, Verlander, Scherzer, looking for the aces. Tampa, 2 aces. We'll be betting them a lot. So that's baseball. We talked gold. What do I want to talk about? I'm watching 24. I just like so bored. And Netflix has nothing on except Money Heist, which I've seen, and it's like, okay, time for a break. The movies on Netflix are horrible. It's the same thing. How many times are you going to watch whatever, Hangover? Okay, I watch it. Okay. I'm not going to watch it 20 times in the month. And then they keep it on. And then their problem is they don't have a lot of choices. They don't have any good movies. And the 1 or 2 good movies they have on, okay, you watch it. I found when I was in Barcelona, kind of laid up in bed, they had The Godfather, they had the Lord of the Rings stuff. They had good movies. So I watched all of those, but they're not here. It's like, what the fuck? And some of them, when they are here, they're only here a month or something. It's just terribly, their whole concept's ridiculous. They're now up to $15.99 with no commercials. Well, fuck, if I'm going to get commercials, I'm going to go to Tubi and Pluto, which I get free on Roku. And, yeah, they got commercials just like YouTube. These commercials are just fucking killing TV. The problem is if you watch the regular show on NBC, you'd watch the show and then there'd be the break and then there'd be the commercials. The problem on YouTube is in the middle of a sentence or the middle of a question or middle of the guy's about to kick a field goal, they go to a fucking commercial. And I refuse to pay $11.99, whatever the fuck they want to get commercial free. It's just out of spite. I'm not going to do it because you want me to do it. That's just my motto. Netflix kind of made sense because I'm buying it for the movies, but now it's the only station I can go to like go to sleep to because I know I won't get commercials. But you know, Pluto, you're in the middle of a sentence and they go to a commercial. Then they're going to 5, 6 commercials. It's insane. Way too many commercials. So I guess their logic is to get you to buy the premium. But on YouTube, I'm not watching the commercials. I'm looking at the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if there's like a 15-second one, I just mute it. It really kills whatever. So I end up, especially when I'm watching my gold videos, I end up rewinding back 30 seconds to get back into it. And then they don't show the commercial. But it's really a pain in the ass. So bricks, we're getting close to that. We're getting close. These guys, this is the end. No, we don't know. We know it's going to go. Hi, Andrew. We know it's going to go away, but we just don't know the exact time of it. But like I said, so I'm watching eBay and I'm seeing gold prices 2,300. But there's a lot of them are JM bullion, so you got to be careful with that. But I'm seeing the prices on eBay go up, which is good, and they're being sold. So it's coming, even though COMEX doesn't show it. The market shows it. Huge demand. It's just going to take off. And all I know is you better be prepared because if you wait for, like the other guy, I'll wait in 10 years, it'll go up, then I'll buy it. If you do that, you're fucked. I mean, I'm already starting to see 2,300 for an ounce of gold, 2,400. And I'm going, shit, I better buy. I can go buy them for 2,100 at the store. I better go buy a few more ounces because I see where it's going. It ain't going down. And you start panicking emotionally when you see 24, 2,500. You start going, fuck, here we go. And if I want any more, I got to buy them now because they're not going to be 2,100 too much longer. And COMEX is about to be blown away by BRICS. I guess 19 countries want to join, and Saudi Arabia. They're all coming out with their gold-backed currency and their old gold and all this. And there's nothing the U.S. can do about it anymore. They can't blow up every country, I guess, even though they kind of want to. Andrew, 70 million, Lotto Max tonight. Well, good luck, Andrew. That's probably about your odds, 70 million. Well, but you're only going to win Canadian dollars, so that's not real money anyway. Anyway, so let's see. I watched some videos. I mean, don't watch this. This guy's a total idiot. This guy's a total idiot. All he says is they're buying a lot of gold and silver. Yeah, but you sell gold and silver. You're a salesman. We can't trust anything you say. Panic will ensue in the regional banking system. This guy doesn't have a fucking clue. He's not a banker and he's not an economist. 1 in 38 million. Yeah, so you think you're going to win at 70 million? Well, good luck. If you do, buy a lot of gold with it. So I was watching. I don't know what the fuck's going on. China's drilling this 32,000 foot hole to the mantle of the earth. I guess it's for minerals or whatever. This looks like a good match. Rowdy Piper against Rick Rude. I want to watch this. We'll have to watch it after. Anyway, I don't see much in the gold thing. The one guy, Rick Reichert, came on, and I really nailed the guy. You bought 2 tickets, Piper's Pit. I like watching Piper wrestle. If you want to watch a good game, watch this one. The 74 Dolphin Raider game. This was a great game. Here, we got Venezuela in a collapse, Argentina's in a collapse, Japan's in a collapse, the Euro's in a collapse, Britain's in a collapse. And if you don't think gold's going through the roof, this is so the US can have the dominant currency. It doesn't fucking mean anything. Again, it's not that it's the reserve currency, it's that it has no value. It's worthless. That's what everybody's missing. Oh, we're the reserve. Who gives a fuck? If you're the reserve currency, nobody wants you. You're worth zero. And if you're worth zero, it doesn't matter you're the reserve currency. CFL kicks off this week. Canada is on fire. Literally, is there like forest fires or what kind of fire? Let's see. Well, I don't have that one. Now, let's see. I really nailed this motherfucker. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, a lot of bullshit. Anyway, not much on YouTube today. Canada's on fire, forest fires. We have to stay inside. Terrible air. That's what you get in a socialist country. They don't have what? You don't have fire hoses? And you know why that's because they don't take care of their forest and they get dry and then there's lightning and the lightning hits the tree, causes the fire, and it's so dry you get fire all over the place. And that, what is this, in Edmonton and Alberta and everything? Well, maybe it'll come to the US. We'll see. Another reason to move to Europe. How can it be bad everywhere? So you don't even have trees in Toronto or Quebec or Montreal. Where's the fire? Wouldn't it be in Calgary and in Edmonton where the forests are? Or do you have forests in Montreal area, Quebec, Ottawa? So if it started in the West Coast, why is the air quality bad in the in where you are in Montreal? Teaserking, do you play NFL futures? Never. I play teasers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16, 6-point teasers. I don't play the bullshit. Oh, this team's going to win 8 games, 9 games. I can help you on that, but I don't play it. I don't think the odds are good. Northern Ontario, Nova Scotia. So you got trees in Nova Scotia, and they're on fire. So you're telling me every forest that started in Vancouver all the way to Nova Scotia is on fire? And you think what? This was lightning, or are they actually setting this on fire for that? You can ask me a question, James, if you want. I can help you with the futures, but I don't. It's like money lines. It's 10,000 on one end and 1,000 on the other. The odds are terrible, so that's why I don't play that kind of stuff. Oh, I believe you, Andrew. I know you come here. You're not bullshitting me. But why is this? Is there a reason that every fucking forest in Canada is on fire now? Casper Rudd. Is he a golfer or a hockey player? Must be a hockey player. We might have to talk to Bobby Orr and see what he's talking about. Casper Rudd wins tennis. Okay. Never heard of him. I don't follow tennis. Hard to bet on it. French Open, okay. I liked it when Jimmy Connors and McEnroe played. James TX, okay. NFC South is wide open, think. What are Falcons' chances? They are the long shot of the four. I think the best team in there is New Orleans, and I would think they would win. Carolina doesn't have a quarterback. Tampa's in big trouble, but depending on their quarterback, the one upset I would give you, James, is Denver in the AFC West, because you got Sean Payton coaching and Russell Wilson, and I look for them to be explosive, and I look for Kansas City to kind of be a little flat after winning the Super Bowl. San Diego still has a terrible coach, and Oakland sucks. So that's probably the one sleeper I would look at. I would not bet the Lions. I'd bet Minnesota. We got to see how good Green Bay is. I think Cincinnati's, sure. I would take the Jets if they're the dog to win that division. I would take, I guess, Jacksonville, because all Houston and Indy aren't going to score all year. And Tennessee, we need to see who their quarterback and running backs are, although they will have a good defense. So it's a little early for that. So Cincinnati, and then Denver, and what's the other one? And the Jets. Those are those. And then the NFC, I would think Minnesota right now, although we got to see how Love is, although he's probably not that good. And then we got Philly, San Francisco. It looks like Brock Purdy will be playing, but Seattle's a little, take a little bit on them. They should be very good. And then we got and then New Orleans I like. NFL is months away. Oh, wow, we're in June, July. It's preseason starts in August, and then Labor Day. So it's June, July. It's 3 months away. But it's the NFL. Jets, Rodgers, Detroit will not be good. I don't love the coach in Detroit. He's terrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. He keeps going for it on fourth down. Detroit will not be good. Okay, they were 1-7, and then they won a few games against some weak teams. When the game needed to be won against Carolina, they got killed. They ran up and down the field on them. Believe me, Detroit, when they need to win, don't win. When they got the tougher schedule, they're going to lose all four to the AFC West. They got Baltimore. They'll be lucky they'll split with the Chicago Green Bay Mini. So that's 7-8 losses. And I don't know who else they have. If they got to play, I think they got to play Seattle. That's 9 losses. So they're 8-9 at best. I don't know where everybody thinks it. He's Canadian, James. He, for him, if it's not Bobby Orr, he doesn't know. Why Dan Campbell is not a coach? He's never coached before. It's like the Miami coach. He's never coached before. He's basically like the towel boy for San Francisco, and he sat in meetings. And then I think it was 1 year an offensive coordinator, and then now he's a head coach in Miami. So I don't like Tagliabue. Um, they had to go get Tyreek Hill and pay him $30 million to come there to make Tagliabue look good. He's as good as Mac Jones, who sucks on New England. He didn't do good. He was 9-8. His first year he sucked. Last year he was okay, but it was an easy schedule. Let's see against a good schedule what he does. But if you guys think the Lions are any good, you're out of your freaking mind. They're not good. They don't pay the returning players like Slay, and then they let the running back go. The running back gets 17 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, and they let him go for money. And then they get the guy from the Bears who's not any good anymore, Montgomery. They draft a kid out of Alabama. Seattle takes the kid McIntosh out of Georgia, who's much better than the Alabama kid. The Lions take the Alabama kid with the 6th pick in the first round. Seattle gets McIntosh, who's a better player all around, in the 7th round. What's wrong with that picture? And that's my point with the Lions. How the fuck do you waste a 6th pick on a backup running back who didn't even gain 1,000 yards with Alabama? You don't get Alabama running backs unless it's Henry or the guy on Pittsburgh now who's pretty good. This guy was nothing last year. You could have had but why get a running back? You needed defense. You could have got these guys from Georgia like Philadelphia did. It's not hard. Just take the best guy in Georgia, and he was injured. That's why their Georgia defense started slipping. He got hurt in the Florida game. That's why they sucked against LSU and Ohio State. You watching hockey finals? Is Bobby Orr in them? If Bobby Orr isn't in them, I don't watch them. I do like watching the last 2 minutes of his overtime goal on a give and go with whatchamacallit. God, I can't think of the guy's name. But that was that's a basketball play, a give and go. So he gave it to the guy in the behind the net, and he passed it back to Orr, and he was an easy goal. That's what's lacking. That's a good play. Well, hockey's, I don't know. There's no stars in hockey anymore. And I don't know. I just don't. I lost interest in hockey. I liked it when the Wings were winning and the best sport. Well, maybe. I still think football is the best, but it's losing its value. And I don't like that they let Don Cherry go. All right. That was ridiculous. You let Don Cherry go. Don Cherry attracted you to hockey. Just to see him with his fancy coats talking in intermission. That was why I turned into the Hockey Night in Canada, was to see Don Cherry. But I don't know. I haven't been into it in a while. I can't watch basketball anymore. Baseball's ridiculous with their rule changes. So really, I'm watching football. I can pick baseball, but I don't. I'm not watching it, but I'm just knowing what I know. Like McCullough pitched yesterday for Tampa. He was like 8-1 with a 2.2 ERA. I bet him. I locked him, and it won 7-1. So I know enough of what I'm looking for to pick baseball, but it's crazy. The Tigers today, it was a bullpen day. What the fuck is that? Oh, well, we're just going to have the bullpen pitch. What kind of crap is that? What's going on? James, did you see the White Sox walk-off pass ball against the Tigers? Pitch nailed the umpire in the face. Oh, there you go. That's the Tigers. Next thing you know, Andrew's going to be telling us that their manager is good. Just crazy. That's what kills me. It's like all the players knew they were doing the signals, which to me is totally legal. If you're on second base and you can see that the guy's going to throw a fastball or a curveball, You signal the hitter. That's why. And what the fuck was wrong with what Houston did? They signaled the guy that this is the pitch. I don't understand how that's any different. And that's baseball. And everybody knew what was going on. And I fault the other team for not doing it too. It's like Madoff, right? Everybody knew it was a Ponzi scheme. If you're in it, if I'm in a Ponzi scheme, now I know economics. So if I'm in the scheme and I'm getting this 15% every month I'm a winner, which can happen. It's like me hitting every football game. It can't happen. I can't hit every one. But for him to go 100% and always pay me, I know it's a Ponzi scheme. However, I like getting the 15% every month, so I shut the fuck up and this is nice. Give me another $5,000. Give me another $5,000. But when he gets caught and he's out, I can't cry, oh my God, it was a Ponzi scheme. Give me a break. That's why that one guy killed himself in the pool. That one investor who kept giving him $1 billion to cover, he knew it was a Ponzi scheme and he knew he was going to jail. My only bitch is, why didn't the SEC and JP Morgan go to jail? Oh, because the Wall Street runs the banks, runs the government, and therefore they won't prosecute themselves. That's the fucking problem. Jays, cheaters, let's go to Vegas. Yeah, I'm ready to go to Vegas. Well, who are you rooting for, Andrew? Toronto's not in it. Montreal hasn't been in it since Ken Dryden. Who are you rooting for? You're rooting for who's in it? Houston? No, they're not cheaters. You don't think the other teams cheat. New England Patriots cheat, but you don't think all the other teams cheat? Come on, man. That's what they all do. I'm watching 24 and all the presidents they're all cheating and they're all doing bombs and nukes and everything else, and they're all in on it. Give me a break. Don't be that naive, Andrew. I know you're Canadian and you think everything's hunky-dory, but everybody cheats. So if the other team wasn't smart enough to watch the monitor and signal, that's their fault. It ain't Houston's fault for being smarter than them. If they're playing they're playing, the Yankees, and you don't think the Yankees cheat, fuck, they're the biggest cheaters, right? So why aren't they looking at the monitor and signaling? You don't think that was happening? You think just Houston, everybody else is stupid? Really? Come on, man, that's ridiculous. How did New England cheat? They watched practices. They filmed practices of the Jets and all these. Why do you think they lost draft picks 10 years ago? Belichick cheats all the time. They didn't get caught, the other team. They don't get caught. New England got caught cheating. That was that's why Brady had that Deflategate. He had to sit 4 games, 8, 9 years ago. Yeah, they got caught for cheating a couple times. They lost draft picks and all that shit. I didn't say it's okay. I just said, don't think Houston was the only one getting the signs. They just had the better team and they won because they had the better. They had Verlander. But don't think for a minute, everybody knew what was going on. The other team knew what was going on. And why the other team didn't do it also, they probably did, but Houston won, and then they cried foul. It's like Madoff. Oh, it's okay getting 15%. Oh, that's okay. Just shut up and get the money. And then when he goes to jail for Ponzi scheme, then you start crying, oh, my God, it was a Ponzi scheme? I didn't know that. Come on, that's such bullshit. Everybody knows what's going on. If you go to invest, so you're going to go invest with somebody and not know what they're doing, but they're getting these huge returns? Come on, that's bullshit. You know exactly what's going on. And if you don't pull your money, if you're playing craps, you know the 7's going to hit, right? You know if you're playing the pass line, you play the numbers, and you start hitting the numbers for 20 minutes. You know the 7's coming. If you don't pull your numbers down, you're an idiot. But that, you know what's going to happen, right? But you get greedy and you keep pressing up your 8s and 9s and 6s, they keep hitting, but you're not smart enough to realize, well, that 7 is so due. I got to pull my money down. And it's perfectly legal to pull your money down, but most people don't. They just want to, they think it'll just, the 7 will never hit. That's what happens to a lot on a lot of different angles. Okay, so should they keep championship? Absolutely. Pete Rose, he didn't cheat. He bet on Cincinnati. He didn't bet against them. And, you know, what his stupidity was, he should have had his brother make the bets. Why would he make his own bets? He could have called me. I would have made the bets for him. That should never have, he can't be this stupid where he makes the bet. Now, should he be in the Hall of Fame with 4,000 hits? Fuck yes. So should McGwire and Socha and Roger Clemens. They should all be in the Hall of Fame. That's ridiculous. They're good pitchers. Coked out. Who, Pete Rose? Even if he was, he's an idiot for making his own. Why the fuck would you make your own bets? He's Pete Rose. He can have his girlfriend make the bets for him, or his wife, or kids. I don't know. Call up Jimmy the Greek and make them, or the bookie at the bowling alley. I mean, there's so many ways he could have done it with nobody knowing. And again, he shouldn't not be in the Hall. Now it's so ironic. Now what DraftKings does, what baseball and basketball and football and BetMGM. These are the fucking sponsors. It's all gambling. What the fuck is going on? But Pete Rose can't get in because of that. Rose belongs in Hall of Fame. Clemens too, and McGwire and Sosa. All those guys do. And Barry Bonds. Are you kidding me? Barry Bonds has 760 home runs. He's not in, and Rose isn't in. That's fucking ridiculous. There should not be a vote from the sportscasters. Maybe in the 30s and 40s. No, it just should be numbers. Oh, you hit 700 home runs? Welcome to the Hall. And if you're not in the Hall, then the Hall's not worth anything. So that's bullshit. But as long as Mickey's in the Hall, that's all that matters. But yeah, these guys, and then some of the guys they put in the Hall are ridiculous. They should keep World Series title is what, absolutely. Why not? They didn't. It did not help them win any more than the Yankees knew. And then who did they beat? What in the championship game? What, Washington or somebody? Whoever they beat, they didn't know. They all had the same opportunity to look at the monitor. I don't think it was only Houston who could look at the monitor. So if the other teams aren't smart enough, Houston still had to pitch. So when they're pitching, the other team can know what's coming. So because the other team's idiots, you're going to penalize Houston? Absolutely, they should keep the championship. Or they should have protested at game 1 saying, hey, these guys they know what's going on. Why did they wait till after the series? I wouldn't have played. I would have said, hey, we can't play. They're cheating. Or what's it? But people steal signs in baseball and in football all the time. That's part of the game. When the runner's at second base and he's looking at the catcher for his sign and he puts down a 2 for a curveball, and then he kind of crosses his legs and the batter knows the curveball's coming. What's the difference? That's part of the game to read the signals. Houston got redemption, though, so nobody cares now. And they only have, I guess, 2 players left. Altuve's gone, and all these guys are gone. But they got caught, Houston. They didn't get caught. The other team cried because they weren't smart enough to do it. Or they were doing, maybe the other team was doing it too, but Houston won. So then they cried, just like Madoff. Oh, my God, there's a Ponzi scheme. I lost all my money. But while I was making all the money, I didn't say a fucking word. So Patriots should keep their titles, absolutely. So should the 49ers, the Bears, the Redskins, the Giants, and Dallas. I mean, I'm sure they all cheated, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it just doesn't come out. You don't think Lawrence Taylor cheated when he played? I mean, he was great, but you don't think he cheated? Of course he cheated. So all of them cheated. That's part of the game, is to cheat. Don't be so almighty, Andrew. Yeah, absolutely, cheating's okay. It's always done in sports, That's what it is. If you think sports are honest, you're out of your mind. Look at the NBA. There's fixing by the referees. In the NFL, there's pass interference, ghost calls. The Mahomes call against Cincinnati was a joke. That wasn't a personal foul. That was cheating. It's all cheating. What do you think the fucking banks do and the government? It's all cheating. They inflate the money. Your dollar's worth even less than my dollar. My dollar's worth this. What is that? That's the government cheating me. They're inflating my dollar to nothing. This is why I scream to buy gold and silver, because the government's cheating us, right? So they're the biggest cheats. They steal our money, making it worthless. What should we do about them, Andrew? And same thing in Canada. Believe me, your guy does the exact same thing in Canada. So don't think it's don't think it's everything's straight. I mean, you got to get over that, Andrew. Hockey, believe me, hockey's fixed. Yeah, NBA is who knows what's a foul or and who knows what referees are clean. Carbon tax. Well, but it's not even that. This is your biggest tax, is your fucking inflation. Your Canadian dollar's worth 75 cents to our dollar, and our dollar sucks. And you're worth 75 cents. So how much are you inflating your dollar? All I can tell you is if you don't buy gold, you're out of your mind, because your choice is, and I've done that two paths, right? You can stay in this where you know it's going to zero and you know you're getting fucked, or you can trade it in for gold and silver where you have a chance to be a millionaire 100 times over, because the value of the gold and silver, thanks to the Russians, are now going to go through the roof, and this is going to zero. So it's very obvious what's happening, but they're cheating you here, and the most important place to cheat you is your money, and they're cheating you. That's why they don't have the gold standard, but that's what the Russians are going, because everybody realizes this is all a Ponzi. This is Madoff, and they're all going to gold and silver because nobody trusts anybody anymore except gold and silver. Look at Zimbabwe. They went to gold. They actually have gold now that they sell because they know their dollar is worthless. Corruption, one bedroom, $1,600 a month. Dollars. You got gold, you better buy more. In safe. Good for you, Andrew. I'm glad you listened. Who's your go-to for purchasing gold and silver? I have a store that I go to. I go here. You can see I just bought 10 ounces of silver at $27. But I go there because I like they're tiny bit more expensive. They're in Detroit area, and you can see what I did. But look at it. It's $27.30. If I go on eBay, it's like $32, $33. And I can walk in. I gave them, it's a cash sale. No, my name's not mentioned. I give them the cash. They give me the gold or the silver, and I walk out. I don't have to wait for the shipping. I can check the condition. I know it's gold. Because I only buy like US or Maple Leafs or Cougarans. That's all I buy. Philharmonics a little bit, but that's what I'm buying with the silver. And but I walk out. I know I have it, and it's it goes into the safe, and it goes into. I got so much silver I can't put it in the safe. I got all my big baseball cards in there, and football. I want to show you. So Jim Brown dies, right? So I want to show you how it works. So Jim Brown dies. Now I got the 59 Jim Brown in probably mint condition. Here's a Jim Brown rookie. This is a near mint 8, not even PSA. This is Jim Brown's rookie card. How much do you think it went for? $119,000 for a Jim Brown SGC8. This is why I tell you to get these older cards in mint condition. Okay. This is an 8. I have the 59. I should have got the 58, but I was kind of cheap at the time. Okay, so this guy raised his price. He was at 2090. I think it was 2088. So he's up to 2105. Here's the one for 2080, the Maple Leaf. And then here he's 2109 on that. So he is free shipping, but I can probably get it at my store for about the same. He's usually equal to eBay for buying it. If I'm going to sell, I'm going on eBay and selling. I am not selling to the coin guy because he's not even giving me full spot. But spot's only $19.50, so they're now like $150 over. He's supposed to be $125. Maybe it's $19.75, I think. But that's where I buy it from. I just drive there. I have the money. I've kind of got my credit cards in trouble because I've been buying gold because I'm scared it's going to go hit 30, 40,000 very soon. And my fear is that I don't buy it at this price. And then how do I buy it at 40,000? So that's my fear. And so therefore I keep buying it. I said, well, I'll just pay the credit card back. Once it hits 40 grand, I'll cash in one and pay off the credit card if I need to. But I bought it for 2,000. Now the real game to play, silver should go down to 10-1. What does that mean? Well, if gold is $2,000 right now, silver should be 200. It's 23. It's fucking a joke. It's price fixed down. So once the shit hits the fan, and it's hitting the fan very soon, I think by August, BRICS will announce their gold standard back coin. And it doesn't matter. Texas wants to go gold standard digital. Everybody's going gold standard because they realize the paper's shit. I showed you what Venezuela is got 400% inflation. That's coming here. You can't stop inflation. It's like the snowball. It's coming down the hill. It's not stopping. It's getting bigger and bigger because they keep printing and printing, right? You keep printing this shit. It's down to this. It's going to go down to this, and it's going to go, and all it's going to have is this little one. It'll be worth like a half a cent because you keep printing. How do they think they pay Social Security, Medicaid, or whatever the hell? All this shit they print. So that's more money being printed. That's more money. That's more inflation. We understand inflation is printing the money, making it worthless. That's what it is, not prices. The price comes in as it takes more of these to buy Oreo cookies. I was at the store today. Oreo cookies, $4.75 for a pack. They used to be $2. But the kicker is if you buy two, the second one's free. So now it's really selling for $2.50 if you want to buy two fucking packs of Oreo cookies or Cheerios or any of that stuff. But I notice it's Kellogg's, it's General Mills, it's Oreos, Nabisco. They're the ones fucking you over. When I looked at my Ken's salad dressing, it was on sale for $2.49 today. I bought 3 of them. I get different, a French, a Thousand Island, and like an olive oil or something like that. But that's what I buy when I see the Ken's on sale because I know I'm going to keep buying that. That's important. So that's where I go, James. I'd recommend this store if you can and compare it to eBay and just buy as much gold as you can. And the thing with gold is you can't afford the 2,100, but you can buy a quarter ounce for 600. You can buy a half ounce for 11.12. Buy the Cougarans or the Maple Leafs. They're cheaper. It doesn't matter. You're buying fucking gold. You're buying it for the gold. You're not buying it as a collectible. You're not buying the Jim Brown mint card as a collectible. You're buying gold because it's gold. It's the price of gold is 30,000 an ounce. It doesn't matter who it is. It's, oh, I got an ounce of gold, and that's it. So you're not going to worry about it. I don't think he was asking you, Andrew. Bank of Canada. Do you have like coin stores there in Canada, or do you have to go to like the Bank of Canada to buy your gold, Andrew? You buy online. I would go to the store. It's got a. I want to do cash. I don't want anybody to know I got it, and I want to inspect them and then take them home when I leave, so I have them. They said U.S. new coin catalogs every week now. Oh, they send us new coin catalog. Yeah. 400 billion in deficit. That's cheap. We're 31 trillion, 32 trillion, going to 50 trillion. Ontario, but on sale, buy on sale. Canadian mint, insurance, gold, and coin stores are sketchy. In Canada, you're not honest? So you want to beat up the Houston Astros, and your coin stores are sketchy in Canada? I would only buy, if you're buying gold, I would only buy U.S., you know what it says, Maple Leafs, Cougarans, Philharmonics, the British. That's it. Australia has, the kangaroo. It's good. It says 1 ounce of gold on it. It says 999. I mean, you know what you're getting. These other ones, if it doesn't say an ounce of gold, don't fucking buy it. If it doesn't look right, if the color's off, don't buy it, because there could be counterfeits coming from China. But you can usually tell because the color, the gold is like, doesn't look right. It just, when it's gold, like this is gold. This is what it should look like, right? It's nice and shiny, and you go, that's gold. But if you buy, the worry of the counterfeit is when it's something that looks faded, then it's probably not gold. It's probably copper or something. So stay away from that. But if you buy U.S. Eagle or you buy a Maple Leaf, you're buying what you're buying, and it pretty much says it. So here's the Maple Leaf. Look what it says. It says 1 ounce of pure gold. So it's saying 1 ounce of gold, and it looks gold. And the same thing with our Eagle. That looks gold. That is gold. And it says on the back, 1 ounce of pure gold. So you see where it says it. And even in the Cougaran, what's it say? 1 ounce fine gold. So as long as it says 1 ounce of fine gold, you've got an ounce of gold. That's what you're buying. And it always will say it. Some of those, the James Bond one I told you about, the the Savern, I don't think it says gold on it. Now they know it's gold, and if you tested it, it would be gold. But I don't like it because it doesn't say gold. That's like I won't buy the Trump. I think Trump has a silver or gold. I won't buy his because people don't like Trump, and I'm never going to be able to sell it to a guy who doesn't like it. So therefore, I don't want to buy it and have trouble selling it. So I just stick to the real gold and silver. Mint I trust. I have 1 ounce Queen Dragon gold. Yeah, I saw the Dragon. They look nice. You love Trump, but what if you get into somebody who doesn't love Trump? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm here or there with Trump. I don't think he's the Greek god either, but I won't buy him because if I find somebody who doesn't like him, I can't sell the coin, and I'm buying them to sell, but not to sell. Eventually, I'll sell some of mine, but I was thinking 50,000. I'm thinking 100,000 now. I think that's what gold's going to. Biden fall. Well, the problem, well, he's not even real. I don't even think it's him. I think it's a double. He's 80 years old, and he's fallen. He slurs his word. Nobody knows what he's saying. Nobody cares. He's not in charge. It's Obama. It's the Russia. It's the Chinese really are in charge of the U.S. right now. And they're the ones they gave Biden $40 million, and he does whatever they want. So it's really, the Chinese are running the U.S., so they're doing what's best for them, which is to collapse us. And then China's number one because they got now. I heard now they got 60,000 tons of gold. There's 32,000 ounces in a ton. How much fucking gold? Now they don't buy like us. We buy the coins. They're buying a fucking James Bond bar like Goldfinger had. So they got 60,000 tons. We all got to learn Chinese because they're going to be in charge because whoever has the gold makes the rules. Well, there won't be World War III. World War III is financial, not military. Nobody wins nukes, so they're not going to nuke. There's no point in it because they need customers. So China needs us to buy their goods. Russia doesn't. Now, they probably need us too, but they sell a lot of like oil and natural gas and diamonds and gold to Europe, so they don't really need us, and Putin doesn't like us anyway. But China needs us because they make everything, and there's got to be a buyer. It's Say's law, like I tell you. Say's law is, I want Canadian Club 12-year-old. That's what I want. So I go make it for you. That's Say's law. Well, what China's doing is, I made all this shit, but now wait a minute, where the market's gone. What happened? Wait a minute, I'm making all these headphones and iPhones and computers. I'm making all this shit, but wait a minute, my customers are gone because the U.S. just went broke. Who do I sell it to? Now they're stuck with the goods. So they don't want us to go because they need us to buy their goods. Or their economy is already shot from the housing crisis of Evergrande. That's already done. But anyway, they got the gold, their gold. They got 60,000 tons of it. And we don't know how much there is anymore because apparently a lot of these countries are leasing it out. And so it's being double counted. So there's a lot less gold out there than we think. That's why I adjusted my 50,000 to 100,000. But again, it won't even be priced in dollars because dollars won't exist soon. This will go to zero, and then they have to come out with a new dollar because we need the medium of exchange. You need to be able to go to the grocery store and the restaurant. You have to do that or you won't have an economy. And then if you don't have an economy, you don't have a government because they don't get paid and they're not going to work for free. Lots of, but you don't own it. Who owns your gold, right? That's the thing. So they're being sold to what? All these countries that print gold. So the U.S. buys some to make the coins to sell. So does the Brits. So do you guys. So does not the Krugerrands. They have their own in South Africa, but like the Austrian Philharmonics, Australia, they probably buy your out of your mines, and then they make the gold with it. Where China takes it out and keeps it. They don't let the gold out. Neither does Russia. That's why they got it all. Plus, they actually value gold. We don't. I don't know why the U.S. and Canada and London doesn't value gold, and most of the West. What I was told is the BRICS countries are the ones buying all the gold because they're coming out with gold-backed currency. And that's going to price gold so high. Oh, I can't wait. So what employer pay us in? The new dollar. There'll always be a dollar. Don't mistake that. Look at Russia. They just had rubles. They went bankrupt. They replaced it and came out with a new ruble. This will go to zero. They'll come out with a new dollar. Hopefully they back it by gold. If they don't, the new dollar will also go bankrupt. If they have the digital currency, if it's not backed by gold, it's basically still the same bullshit. That'll go away because nobody's going to trust it. If this goes away and you don't trust it, you're not going to trust another currency that's not backed by gold because they're all going to end up at zero. So you can say, fuck you. And then they're going to come out with a new They'll have to come out with a new, but this is the medium of exchange. So I'm going to take my gold and get 50,000 of these, and then I'm going to pay for dinner and groceries and my electric and my bills. My credit cards will go to zero, as will my mortgage, which is good. I got to wait for that. So I'm kind of paying enough to keep the payments down, but I'm expecting them to go to zero because how can I pay the money? The money's gone. There's no money to pay you with. So they'll do that. They might try to switch it to the new currency's value, but who knows? That's why we got gold and silver, because that will go to the moon. And what I really get frustrated is these idiots who say, "Oh, gold will hit $3,000, on COMEX." They don't understand it's paper fixed prices. It's not physical priced. This is why I say gold 50,000, because when you make it a physical price, this is a physical price. You get the bottle of Canadian Club. I get this, and here's $50. I get the bottle. That's not what's happening. These guys are dealing in paper. They're not dealing in gold. So what they do with the paper, it's all bullshit. I'm selling 1,000,000 ounces of gold to keep the price down, is what they're doing. That's it. They're shorting gold because the dollar goes up. I mean, it's the dollar goes up against the yen. Well, whoop-de-doo. What doesn't mean the dollar is good. So that's what happens. So if it's doing that, you're then the gold is not at a real price. And so when people talk, it's 3,000, they're full of shit. I'm saying, I'm thinking outside the box, going gold at COMEX paper derivative price, or somebody selling 1,000,000 ounces they don't have to his partner at Morgan Stanley, at JP Morgan, whatever, who isn't taking delivery, only to keep the price low so there's no competition for the dollar. That's why they're doing it. But all the other countries are buying it at this low price, so it's all backfiring on the U.S. And so that's not a real price. The Jim Brown card I showed you on eBay at 110,000 is the real price. That's the market. And if that's worth 110, what do you think gold's at? I mean, come on. A Jim Brown rookie versus gold. I mean, gold's got to be worth 110 if Jim Brown is. But what happens is gold is its own money. So it will not end up being priced in dollars. It'll eventually go away, and gold will be the money. And that'll be the reserve currency. And just like the Romans, that's how the Romans ran. And so when everybody comes in here negative, it'll never happen, I go, yeah, you probably, if you lived in the Roman times, would have thought that Rome would never go out either. I mean, you got idiots in charge. The problem is the people running the country should not, it's a bad process, right? It's because there's no checks and balances on the government. They're all corrupt. They all take the bribes, and then that's what happened. The whole system sucks. So what employer pays us in? They'll pay us in the new US dollar. You'll get a new Canadian dollar, whoever gets it first. James, US digital dollar launched in April. No, it wasn't. No, they're testing it. It's not launched. And all it's doing is going to the central banks. It's not going to us. And if nobody wants it, it ain't going to go. And I think it's going to be like Bitcoin, where if you still want your dollars, you're going to have, if I still want this, I'm going to have this. Do I want digital? And I won't take it. Again, I don't want to be controlled. So another reason to buy gold and silver, you're off the radar. You can go and do what you want. You want to go fly, cash in a couple ounces of silver, and off you go. No way, costs too much. They have to design it, etc. Oh, come on, Andrew. What's your mortgage interest? I'll let you know when I have it. I probably won't have a mortgage. I'll probably give them an ounce of gold for a house. So I probably won't ever have a mortgage again. Now it's like 10% here, I think. I locked in mine when I had a house. It was like 3%, and I put a 30-year fixed on it. These people that do variable mortgages are idiots, because it's always fixed to go up. So if you buy it at 2%, the next year it's 4, then it's 6, and then it's 8. Where if I do a fixed at 3, it's fixed at 3, and it can never go up. Then the Vatican got all the gold. No, China's got all the gold. I'm not saying the Vatican doesn't have gold, but China's got 60,000 tons and Russia's got 20,000 tons. So I don't know what the Vatican has. I'm sure they have gold, but that's okay. Fire them all. I agree, Andrew. It's a corrupt system. Well, look at Russia. Look at Putin. What do you think Putin's doing it for the people? My girlfriend lives there. She's fucking works, 12-hour days. She can't even talk on the phone. She's at work. Doesn't get paid anything. So it's very difficult there. But the economy in Russia and China is terrible. So I got my Chinese food Saturday, and I talked to the guy. The owner's Chinese, of course. Says, well, you guys are lucky. China's going to have all the gold. You'll be back in control. And he says, it's really poor there. All my friends, nobody has money. You can't get to the bank. All the housing crisis, whatever, they're all broke. I says, I know, but they got all the gold. So that's as soon as the gold goes up, then China will be rich. And that's the hope. They want gold to go up. They're controlling Biden. Gold will go up. That's the other thing. But that's why they're pushing so hard to inflate the dollar to zero. And that's why you got some of these idiots on eBay saying, oh, no, it's deflation. One guy was talking about deflation. I ripped him a new asshole today in the comment section. I go, you don't even know what there's no such thing as deflation. So if we'll use our Canadian club. So they're marketed at $50 a bottle. Inflation hits. They make it $80 a bottle. Nobody buys it because it's too expensive. They lower the price back to 50. Did you get rid of the inflation because you lowered the price? No, the inflation, they're two separate things. This is too expensive for the market. The market says, I'll pay you $50 for the bottle. You're up to 80. I can afford it. So I wait till you come back. What the fuck does that have to do with the dollar? That's not deflation. That's the market adjusting. There's no deflation on this. This is inflation. You printed it. It's like Topps baseball. You printed too much. You made it worth nothing. And there is nothing you can do to correct that except back it by gold to boost it back up. That's it. There's nothing else you can do. You can't stop the inflation as long as you keep printing the money, which is what you're doing. So the fact, whatever happens with the prices has nothing to do with this. And this guy's doing a song and a dance on deflation. There's no such thing. Prices going up and down has nothing to do with the dollar. It's totally apples and oranges. I just drilled him a new asshole. I hate that guy, and he always comes across. He's a monetarist or an MMT guy, which is really Keynesian. That means he's a communist. And he always spews, and you can never understand them because that's how they are. They talk in riddles, so you can't understand. They don't speak in English like I do. Bring her to Detroit. Yeah, she wants to come to Detroit. As soon as she can get out of the country, she'll come here. That's what we're waiting for, but she can't get a flight here, and I can't fly there because they don't fly there. The only way I could actually fly there is to go to Turkey and then from Turkey there. However, I need a visa to go to Russia, which I can't get because they're not giving visas to U.S. citizens. So there's nothing I can do. We maybe can meet in Turkey. That would be probably the best way. But I got to fix my back first. What, your girlfriend lives in Russia? Yes. Well, yeah. The best part of my job is it's remote, which means if I want to move to Vegas or I want to move to Florida or Texas, I can work from there. They don't care where I live as long as I work, and mostly work hours. So if I went to Europe, I would have to work from like 4 a.m. till noon. No, I'd have to work like midnight to 8. I'd have to work a midnight shift because like if I'm in Spain, they're like 5 hours ahead. So 8 in the morning would be I think 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So I guess I'd be working that. I thought when football came out, the late game was on at midnight. They were like 6 hours ahead. So if I'm 6 hours ahead, so I gotta start work at. So I would work 8. I'd work 2 to 9 or 2 to 10 would be my hours, which would kind of suck. And because you can do a lot. I'd rather be doing more at night than in the morning, but I'd have weekends off and holidays. And I'm now working 4 9-hour shifts in a 4-hour on Friday. So we would have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Recession is deflation. There's no such thing as deflation. The prices dropping is, well, a recession is the GDP going not growing. The country's not growing, it's shrinking. And that's what you're going to have with the inflation will cause that. But that's not deflation. Deflation supposedly is prices going down. So I just call it prices going down. That's the market. If the market dictates this and you're here and you lower your price to market, you're lowering your price to market. It's not deflation. I guess you could call it that, but I just call it adjusting the market. It's the same thing. Get a woman closer to home. Have you seen the American women and you seen the Russian women? Not a choice. Although I do like the Canadian women. They're real hot, especially the Vancouver ones. That would be epic. Live stream, Teaserking in Russia. Well, I did it from Lisbon and I did it from Barcelona. I did stream from that. So I did some football last November. I was in Portugal. I was in Lisbon. And I did Saturday and Sunday morning the picks there. And I actually had some people who must have been Europeans who caught me, I guess. That was pretty cool. I liked that. Wasn't the FIFA World Cup or Olympics in Russia recently? Russia had the Olympics in Sochi. And that's where my girlfriend's taking her daughter next week. They're going to the mother's in, and they're going to Sochi for vacation. But that's the last Olympics, I think, and that was, I don't know, in the early 2000s. And I think maybe some World Cup games were in Russia. But yeah, I mean, it's just pathetic there. It's all talk about, and that's where we're headed. We're headed to communism because all these mafia buyouts and all this corruption is Russia. So you want communism, here it is. You want socialism, here it is. All these buyouts, you're not using the law, you're not using the Constitution. Do you understand in the Constitution, money is gold and silver? That's it. That's our rule book, gold and silver, our money. Why are these states coming up? Yeah, we're recognizing gold. What are you talking about? It's in the Constitution. That is the money. So I don't understand it, but it's the only out for us. FIFA was Dubai, no gambling on there. Yeah, I'm sure there's no gambling in Dubai. All the Russian girls go to prostitute in Dubai. That's the funny part. So that's where they go for work. They don't want to prostitute in Russia because their family might see them. So they go to Dubai and prostitute, and they got a lot of rich guys. So they don't see hot Russian girls. So I guess they make a lot of money. Well, I don't know. Some of them do. Let's say. But yeah, well, FIFA's all fixed anyway. See, everything's fixed, but you guys got to realize that Wall Street's fixed. Madoff was fixed. Everybody knew about it. SEC knew about it, and JP Morgan knew it, and they all went on for the gravy train. That's why nobody stopped it. Nobody got convicted, but Madoff took the fall. Nobody from JP Morgan or the SEC went to jail, even though they were much more guilty than Madoff. But all of Wall Street's fixed. This is why when I buy the gold stock, and I haven't bought it in about 2 years now, I would buy 1,000 shares and get out. I'd wait for the 10 o'clock drop, and I'd get the fuck out by 4 o'clock. I'm hoping it dropped whatever, and then as it started coming up, I buy, and then it kind of levels off, and as it's about coming down, I get the fuck out. I would do that every day, and I made a ton of money. But I'm only in it for a few hours, because if I wait longer, I know I'm going to get fucked because they're going to fix me. And Wall Street's probably the biggest scam in the world. The banks are a huge scam. Well, the whole banking system's a scam. The bank, you don't have money in the bank. They don't have to give you a penny. No, don't have it. They do, but once the shit hits the fan and everybody runs for their money, we don't have it. Sorry. Look at China. Look at all these. Look at Greece. Look at Pakistan, Sri Lanka. They fucked all their customers, all their population couldn't get in the bank. They're all fucked. That's coming here. Well, you know it, Andrew. In Canada, they did the whole freezing accounts for the truck drivers. What the fuck? Why does that happen? And that's the point. But see, if we say fuck you and we get kind of physical with these wimps in charge, they're all like little boys scared shitless, but they take the bribes. They don't have any heart, no guts. These are just really fake little guys in the government. That's who would be corrupt. If I'm in the government, you're not going to pay me off. But these guys do. So that's the problem. And so if you just stand up to them, they just wilt. So if we say, fuck you, we don't want digital currency, fuck you, you're not closing my bank, and you're certainly not going to rely on the FDIC. If you rely on that, you're out of your mind. You need to take your money out of the banks before the banks won't give it to you, or before the money hits zero and your 100 grand in the bank is worth nothing, or maybe it's worth 40 grand. But if you put it in gold and silver, it can only go up. And silver at 23, when gold hits 20,000 an ounce, silver should be 1/10 or 2,000. That's where I come up with my numbers. Silver should be 10-1. And then the plan will be taking 10 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. That's the plan. Go to the gold store, to the bank, take your 10 ounces of silver. The worth will be the gold out, the ounce of gold, and then you switch it. And the ounce of gold is going to go through the moon. Now, I was listening to this Sheckman guy, and they're the biggest two-faced guys. Oh, buy silver. It's cheap. Buy silver. And now he's saying, oh, I would just buy gold. The fuck, you just said to buy silver. Silver's going to run, but I'd still want a lot of gold, because when gold runs from 2,000 to 50,000. Silver's going to run from 20 to 2,000. Well, I'd rather have the 50,000 than the 2,000. But 10 ounces of silver should buy the ounce of gold. So when I buy the 20 ounces that I show you, 10 ounce of gold, 10 ounce, an ounce of gold, I've just turned $500 into 80,000. That's the plan. You want a return on investment with no risk? There, I give you silver and gold, and your risk is zero. I mean, it's the only risk-free thing, because they can't inflate it. They can't say, attack on Wall Street. Oh, your REITs are no good anymore. Sorry. And then the guy kills everybody, but he lost 60 grand. And as I say, if he would have put it in gold and silver, it'd have turned into 100 grand. And he couldn't have lost, because they can't inflate gold and silver. You can't print it. You can't counterfeit it. You can't do anything to it. You can't copy it. So I watch Hogan's Heroes, and they're like, oh, they're all this. Oh, the Nazis are printing dollars and Canadian and euros and whatever, the British pounds, the French francs. The Nazis have the plates and they're printing them. That's inflation. You can't do that with gold. Nobody can get a plate. You have to dig it out of the ground and take it and mint it, and all the minting's done in Switzerland. And that's it. You can't fuck around with it. That's the beauty of gold. And the biggest thing is it has demand. The demand for this is zero. Nobody wants it. All the countries are getting out. We don't want it. I don't want this. As soon as I get it, I go buy gold and silver with it. I don't want this. I keep enough to pay a couple months rent. Now that I'm working, I can sell more of it. And then as I'm getting my paycheck, I pull it out of the bank and put it in my safe. So that's what you do, but it's all depending on demand. That's why I say the 20-year-old girl, the hot girl, everybody wants to date. The 60-year-old girl, nobody wants. She's just not attractive. Nobody wants her anymore. She has no value. And that's what's happening. So this is now a 60-year-old girl that nobody wants. And you can see that there's no demand. All these countries are getting the fuck out. And it doesn't even matter because it's being inflated to zero. So that's the problem with it. Let's see. No, FIFA was Dubai. No gambling on there. Well, he might be talking a few years ago where Russia might have had some FIFA. I think they did, but not the finals. But I do remember that was like 6-7 years ago. But now it's just, it's always been like a police state. It's always the mafia has run Russia for years. That's the problem. That's why there's no growth. They should be a much stronger economy than they are. But you don't let the people see. It's like a multiplier effect. Here, we work, we pay taxes. Everybody works. We all pay taxes. But if there was if Biden was the dictator, as he wants to be, then we wouldn't work and then we wouldn't pay taxes and our economy would be much smaller. That's what Russia doesn't understand. If they would become laissez-faire economics, they'd be the best economic country in the world. That's what China did. Problem is China started getting corrupt and they decided to build houses that weren't real, that didn't have the insides. So they built these skyscrapers with nothing inside. People are paying $100,000 for a house thinking they have the house and this guy's not building it. And then the interest rates came due and he couldn't pay it and they all went broke and, you don't have a house. Who's stupid enough to buy a house before it's built? Only an idiot would buy anything before it's built. So I guess that's China, though. But it's very corrupt there. It's corrupt everywhere. This is the problem. This is why it's all fiat money. This is why they don't have a gold standard, because they can print and print and print and put it in their pockets. So if I'm printing, I'm okay. But if I'm working, I'm fucked because what do? I save my money and then it sits in the bank as they print it to zero. And that's what's happening the whole fucking world. The euro, the pound, the maple leaf, us, Switzerland, it's all gone. China, Russia, Japan, it's all zero because it's all toilet paper. That's why they're coming out with the gold. That's why all the central banks are buying gold, because they realize we're all fucked. We all hold toilet paper for money. We're all fucked. We're all going to go broke, except for the professor and his class who are all buying gold and silver. We have an asset. We can buy the Jim Brown card. We can buy the Rolex. Look how much the Jim Brown card is. $110,000. I was showing you Rolexes the other day, and $40,000 Rolex, $50,000 Rolex, 110 for a Jim Brown rookie, and it's not even a 10. It was God knows what a PSA 10 Jim Brown rookie went for. This is an SGC, 8, and it was 110. I can't imagine what a Jim Brown rookie PSA 10 goes. It's got to be over $1 million because there's a huge difference between an 8, a 9, and a 10. The Montana 10's $100,000. The 9 is like $10,000. God, the 8's a couple grand. So look at that Jim Brown. Now, again, it's 1958. So it's not easy to find. But if you're going to a card show and you look for the Jim Brown rookies, and you can see it like, oh, this has sharp corners. Like the one I have is the 59. It's mint. It's sharp corners. Hopefully that went up in price. Maybe I can get another 50,000 out of that one. Andrew, how much you profit last football season? Go to the site. It was about 100,000. But cheating is okay, so cheat. Teaser King likes sharp edges. Well, in cards I do. Cheating is okay, so cheat. I don't. What are you talking about, Andrew? I don't understand that. Well, why do I work? I don't charge for this. I work for money. I got girlfriends and everything else. Why does anybody work? Why does Bill Gates work? I like money. I want to buy more gold and silver. I'm ready to retire. I'm just waiting for gold and silver to go up. That's why I got so much gold and silver and other expenses. But, what's the difference? If you make lots on sports betting, yeah, that's my job. But I got a master's in finance and economics, so I'm working. It's an easy job, and I'm making a lot. So if I can work and make more money, I'll do that. But I'm telling you, as soon as gold hits 100,000, I'll never work another day, and I'll go buy a nice house with my gold and retire. But even when you retire, you just sit there. I'm doing this. I would always do this. I don't get any money for it. I try to help people, so that's my logic with it. But I don't know what's wrong with that. You being greedy, define greedy for me. Greedy is a very good thing to be. It means you're very passionate if you do it right. I'm not hurting anybody by working, and I can help my girlfriends out and other people, and I can do this for free because I have the time to do it, and I'm helping you guys. So are you greedy because you're in my class and you're learning about gold and silver and you're not giving me any money for it? I don't know. I don't think so. Do you use advanced spreads on NFL? What are advanced spreads? Can you please explain? What I do is make my own spreads. I dissect the teams. I look for, like an example, week 1, Frisco is playing Pittsburgh, and 2 great defenses going. So I'm looking to bet the game under because of the defenses. Same thing with Philadelphia and New England. Neither team's got a quarterback. They both have good defenses. Should be a low-scoring game. Minnesota's playing Tampa. Tampa's going to suck this year. Minnesota still has Jefferson. Cousins I hate. I don't know if they have Cook or not. So Minnesota should beat Tampa because Tampa's so bad. Indianapolis has Richardson on it. Well, he probably won't start. But let's go to maybe Indy starts. Maybe Houston starts C.J. Stroud. He ain't going to do shit. He's terrible. I look for them to get shut out in most of their games. I'm going to bet them under all the time. That's my logic, is I got to understand the team. How are they offensively? How are they defensively? How's their coach? What's their scheme? And, so I kind of look at their points to get an idea of, do they have a real good defense or not? And then I go from there. I make my own spread. So Vegas's spread is bullshit too. It's all made off. So I make my own line, and then when I see a good adjustment. An example, a couple of years ago, I was in Vegas and Michigan and Ohio State. This was about 4 years ago. And Michigan was a 3-point favorite over Ohio State. And I bet $1,000 on Ohio State. I couldn't bet a teaser, so I took them +3. This was in August. The game came in November. Ohio State was a 10-point favorite, and they won by 25. I'm getting 3. That's how I work. They release spreads for every week before season begins. Rumor is Cook going to be traded to Saints or possibly Miami because Kamara suspension looming. I can't bet that early because you don't know about injuries. Football's an injury sport. So what happens if you bet in Kansas City, Mahomes gets hurt? Now you're fucked. I don't do that. I wait. I'm even waiting for the injuries maybe a day or two before the game. If Mahomes sprains his ankle, we're all worried about him. That's key to the game if he's going to play or not. So that could be 2 days before the game. So I never would bet advanced. It doesn't make any sense because of all the injuries. So I'm not doing that. Kamara suspension, well, I haven't heard that, but if he is it for the whole year? What's the suspension for? That would be a huge blow. I'm surprised he didn't go to Denver with Sean Payton. But then if Cook goes to New Orleans, that's why I like New Orleans. They got Carr and they got Hayner, and then they have Kamara. So I like New Orleans, but if Kamara's not going to play now, if they get Cook, so you don't know all this now, but once you get it, then that's what you do. Is Brady going to play for Oakland? Well, we don't know. I mean, if he all of a sudden plays for Oakland, that's a whole different ball game. But if he doesn't, Oakland sucks. I heard there was Galapagos, the quarterback. He's out. He might be out for the year with a foot injury. Who's their quarterback? So I mean, how can you possibly bet even a week in advance until you know the injuries? It's too much of a risk. So no, I don't bet. The only advanced and what I do, let's say, let's look at last year. I loved UCLA over, USC over, Washington over, Oregon over. The whole fucking Pac-10 was over. And so when UCLA played USC, I knew it was going to be, 75, 80, 85, 90-point game. The over-under comes out 60 on Sunday. I bet it because I know it's a high-scoring game, but I know Thompson Robinson's playing and USC's quarterback's playing. I know they didn't get hurt because the games are Saturday. Then once we get closer to the game, the over-under goes from 60 to 66. So I've double teased it because now I'm laying over 54, and I know the line's going to go up because it's an over game. You got two great offenses and no defense, and they played 80-point games. UCLA, Utah, USC, Utah. They were both 80-point games. So that's how I look at the totals. I know my team, so I know like Iowa State's a great under team. But that's not really going to go under that much. The Iowa game. So if I was playing Iowa State, the over under that game is going to be 36. So if it opens at 40, I'm going to bet it under for a lot of money because I know 40. I know it can only go down. Nobody in their right mind's betting Iowa State over. It's going to be 10-7, which is what it normally is. And so when that first line comes out at 40, I'm teasing it under 46. Sometimes my hard part's the second part of the teaser. Who do I like? Some weeks I like 5-6 games, and I'll do a 5-6 team teaser. My most was the 11-point teaser, which I've shown you. That was a lot of fun, and that was so easy. A lot of the pros needed to win. It was the last week of the year, so that worked out. Right, so the advanced spread is released before season week 5, for example, US over-under. Well, they won't put over-unders in the advanced normally. But then week 5 comes, the actual spread offered is now 65. Yeah, that happens. Like I said, I had Ohio State +3, but when the actual game came, Ohio State was a 10-point favorite. And I already had it bet plus Ohio State +3.5. I went to here's where I really get revenge. I go to the sportsbook manager and I go, you got the wrong team favorite here. Ohio State had won like 19 out of 20, right? I go, Ohio State should be the favorite in this game. Why is Michigan the favorite? And it was Day's first years. Urban just left. I go, it doesn't matter. Michigan sucks. And he looked at me, well, did you bet $1 million? I go, well, if I had $1 million, I would bet $1 million on Ohio State +3, but I don't have it. And so with that said, made the bet, and then when the actual week came, Ohio State's a 10-point favorite. But I knew they were going to be a favorite, and my only risk, will the quarterback be hurt? And even then, I think Ohio State's backup would be fine anyway, as shown when they won the national title with the third-string quarterback that sucked. So that's really the point. You really don't know. And I don't think they put over-unders out now. They do week one NFL, but I'm not sure week one at college. I do know there's a line. I have read it off here on a prior video, and I'll probably do it on the weekend. But I'm not sure if they have the over-unders already. What do you do with some of these teams? And like last year, I found Kansas week one and week two. They start scoring a ton. I bet them over every week, except for the Iowa State week. So they score 45 points every game. The rest of the year, Iowa State, they beat them 14-11. I was smart enough to lay off the over, and I played Kansas plus 14. And you can't fuck with Iowa State or Georgia or Washington State or Illinois, Iowa. You can't fucking bet them over. It's an under bet. That's what you have to do, or you tease the dog the other way. So I teased Kansas. I couldn't play Kansas over. You cannot play strong defensive teams over. You have to play them under, or you play the dog. Georgia, 2 years ago, how many games? We locked them. I must have locked them 10 times, and we won all of them. Everyone, the number was 55. I'm like, this team, you can't get a first down on them. So you're watching the game, you're realizing they're this great defense, and they're winning every game like 28-0. And the spreads are 55, and Vegas is not adjusting the line on the Georgia game. So every week, lock, because they're in the mid-50s, and I'm going under 60 with the game that has no chance of getting close to the 40s. The big game would be they'd win 42-0 or something, or 42-7, and you'd be way under. I mean, that was beautiful with Georgia a couple of years ago. But I didn't fuck with the spread. I just fucked with the over-under and made a lot of money. But that's what I'm looking for. That's how I've evolved from picking the teams to betting the defense, and that's when the upsets happen, is the defense. How have you adjusted to NCAA player portal? Like Colorado is a drastic example with Dion. I'm adjusting to it, but I'm like Colorado, I'll watch 2 or 3. I won't bet them right away. I know they're going to suck. And one of our students said he had $1,500. He took Colorado in 21 against TCU week one, and I kind of laughed at him. I says, "You've got to be kidding me. Why would you bet Colorado in 21 against TCU, whose Sonny Dykes is the coach? You know they're going to be explosive every year. He's a offensive coach like the Tennessee coach. They're going to be explosive. The last thing I'd want to do is take Colorado in week one against TCU thinking 21's good." He says, "Well, my number is 17. Where the fuck are you getting 17 from? Where are you getting your number from? You have no clue how good TCU I think will be good because of the coach. It's a system thing. It's like Ohio State. They'll always be good. Alabama will always be good because of the coach. It's the system. That's why their quarterbacks suck in the NFL. Ohio State and Alabama is a system offense that doesn't work in the NFL. That's why their quarterbacks suck in the NFL. They can't read blitzes. Look at Fields. He's terrible. And now you got C.J. Stroud. You wasted your third pick with C.J. Stroud. That's like wasting it on Sam Darnold. Any USC quarterback sucks. So that's really what you look at. So Colorado, they're going to get killed the first week. So I don't know what you'll learn, but not a lot. I mean, okay, let's look at the UCF coach, Scott Frost. Goes undefeated, beats Auburn, should have been the national champ, but he's playing in the Conference USA. He goes to the Big Ten to coach Nebraska. The guy can't even win 40% of his games. The best he can do is like 4-10 or whatever, 4-8. So you're asking me about Dion. Well, what do you think's going to happen to Dion? He's in Division II, and he's in the title game and running this wide open offense or whatever he was doing with his son. I don't know. So now he goes to Colorado, and you got to play Utah, UCLA, USC, and the Arizona teams. And you got to cross over, and you might play Washington State, Washington, Oregon State. Good fucking luck, buddy. You're going to have 7, 8 losses. You can't handle. You're going to handle USC, UCLA, or Utah with Rising and USC's quarterback. Utah, I'm sure, will replace Thompson Robinson because of their coach. That's 3 losses right there. I mean, they're going to be lucky to go. They'll be lucky if they win 2 games, I think, and that'll be against the weak non-conference. But you're playing TCU, so you're not going to do shit. They're going to get killed the first week, I think. But I in the beginning, I go to the money. USC, Utah with Rising. I go to Miami with Van Dyke. I go to Oklahoma. Gabriel's there. I watched Texas with Manning. I got to watch that. Alabama, Ohio State, I don't know. Georgia lost their quarterback. TCU lost their quarterback. Oklahoma should be explosive. The Pac-10, Washington, Oregon, very explosive. Their quarterbacks are back. USC and Utah. So that's what I'm looking to bet in week 1. What I know, and that's always been successful. Bet an explosive team against a weak team. They want to get the crinks out, and they blow them out week 1, and then you start looking at the box scores. That's where I found Kansas and Washington State. Washington State I pounded under. Kansas I pounded over because I found Washington State's defense looked incredible, and it was all year. And Kansas lit it up, and that was a lock in the bowl. Was they played Arkansas, another explosive team. Their quarterback, I don't think went pro because that would have been a great guy to draft. Jefferson he could run a little, but he was very accurate. He's much like Hooker. He can run a little, but he's a very good quarterback. So I think he's back. So Arkansas would add on the list. I got to get my college football magazine this weekend. Because Camara suspension looming, not what I meant. Right, so the advanced spread is okay. How about he bought in 71 transfers so far. It's completely new and improved team. I don't know if it's improved. It's completely new team. You got to question the coach, and you got to question he's never been at this level. And the fact he brought in 71 transfers doesn't mean anything. So what? All of a sudden, Jackson State or Jacksonville is going to compete with TCU? Good luck. Yeah, I like Cougars last year, but Vegas caught up. Not really. They never caught up to the over/under. Washington State had a great defense. They never caught it. Vegas has a hard time catching that. They never caught Kansas. The year before, they never caught Georgia. Those over-unders in the Georgia game should have been 42-43. We're always at least 51-52. I was always laying 57 to 60 points in a Georgia under game. And it was like it was a joke. But that now how I adjust, I bet the over in the championship game because TCU puts up 50 points on a good Michigan defense. Georgia puts up 43 and Ohio State put up 42 on them. So I said, fuck, Georgia's scoring. Michigan scored on TCU. TCU scored on Michigan. So I thought the game was going to be like 45-38 or something. But either way, it was over. I think I had to go over 56. I didn't think Georgia would do it all by themselves, but I was happy that I didn't care. All I wanted was points. And so that was I don't know if I locked it, but that was a big win. Georgia over Georgia over in the championship game. But so I got to comment on Andrew being greedy. Greedy's good. What is wrong with greedy? If I'm picking good games, well, I don't understand that. So I shouldn't bet because I win, or I shouldn't raise my picks because I win. Now I got guys that are betting with me all year, Andrew. So they're mighty happy with my picks. So I don't. I'm not following you. You always beg for free picks because you don't want to pay for it. Well, I can't. I give picks on here, but I'm not. Uh, I'm not a what do you call it? A charity. It's a business. The football. I'm giving you the economics. Where is TCU versus Colorado game at? Jerry World? It might be. It might be in Colorado. It could be. Let me see. Hold on. I'm not sure if it'll say. Let's see what it says for the Alabama game. Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, like LSU, Florida State's the Camping World kickoff. Clemson, Duke. I doubt that Duke's probably in the Carolina. So it will say. So let's see. Alabama starts off with Middle Tennessee, lane 38. I love it. Then they brag, we're number one. Here's a good under, Washington State, Colorado State, 59.5. Colorado State, I think, had a pretty good defense last year. Should be low scoring. USC, Nevada, laying 35. Let's see. TCU 22-61.5. It's on Fox. I think it's at TCU, would be my guess. Based on that, I don't think it's at Jerry's World. It would kind of say, and I can't imagine that would be a Jerry's World game. It could be, but it looks like it's at TCU. Lane 22. See, again, you got to see what primetime brings. See a good coach. What he did at Jackson State has nothing to do with now he's playing TCU. That's a whole different skill set he's playing. And he didn't win the championship. The other team did. So I think at best he might have a good offense. I doubt he'll have a good defense. TCU is going to be explosive because of the coach, and they had a pretty good defense. Remember, they were number 2 in the country. They've got a lot of talent, and they're at home. And in week 1, I would think they'd want to. It'll probably take them a little, like a quarter, to get used to what Colorado does. But I'm sure they're looking at the Jackson State film to see what kind of offense he runs, what kind of defense he runs. But that's my point. So I'm going to say it's at Colorado. It's at TCU. But to conclude with Andrew, being greedy is good, not bad. If you're good at something and you do it, there's nothing wrong with doing more of it. I think being greedy is eating like 5 pieces of cake or something. Then you're kind of being greedy and it doesn't help you. but because I'm good at picking football and I'm got a master's in finance and economics, somebody's willing to pay me for that skill. What's wrong with that? I don't mind doing it. It's easy. So I don't really get that uh, thought, like, what's wrong with greed? Greed is, I don't know. It's really good. It's really not bad, but they'll paint it like, oh, he's greedy because he wants more. Well, that's fine. You know, it just see again. This is what I got to put up with. These Canadians. Why I work. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, so what else? I see you've got to know who to trust. Um, most people don't have a clue who to trust. They just somebody says something they don't know and they believe it, and that's what I find is really the problem. Uh, I don't know Madoff, but I'm going to trust him. Oh, it's a Ponzi scheme. Yeah, but I'm making money off of it, so I don't care. Um, a lot of these gold guys, I wouldn't trust them. Uh, if you can't explain that inflation is this, so you want to know who to listen to. What's inflation? And if they don't say this, you're done with them. If they don't think gold is the competition for the dollar and the gold will only go up and the dollar's going down, they don't say that, you get rid of them. If they don't understand the difference between paper gold and physical gold, you get rid of them. The COMEX gold is fake. It's not real gold price. Physical price is the real gold price, but they won't price it in physical because the U.S. is still pricing gold for some reason. I don't know why everybody listens to the fucking U.S. It seems ridiculous that that's who you listen to. Fuck that. I know that number's not right. I want to get 10,000 for my problem is how do you get the 10,000? So you need to create a way to say this is the real price. Now in football, when I see a bad line, I just bet it. I can't do that with gold. I can't just bet gold because of that. That's really the problem with it. But that's what you're looking at. So the reason you buy gold is it's very obvious. If you're scared about it, just imagine if you hold this, what's going to happen? You're going to watch it go to zero. Oh, it won't go to zero because we're the U.S. Yeah, tell that to the Romans. Look at Brazil right now. No, Venezuela, 400% inflation. Their dollar doesn't have any value. The Zimbabwe dollar doesn't have any value. Oh, it can't happen to us. Well, bullshit. What do you think they're doing? They're printing and printing and printing, and now it has no value. That's going to happen to every currency. So just see what else is happening. Going, okay, why is Venezuela's currency going to zero? Or it went to zero. Why? Well, they printed too much. Why? Well, why did it lose value? That's what happened. That's what the inflation does. It basically, nobody wants your dollar and it basically goes to zero. That's why it collapses. So now what will Venezuela do? They'll make a new dollar, but they need to make it backed by gold. And then you'll see the price. So as soon as somebody starts doing that, you'll see the gold price go up because they'll need the gold price much higher. Why the U.S. isn't figuring this out blows my mind. It's because there are a bunch of idiots that are Keynesians, which are communists, running our country, running our currency, and they're killing us. And but again, if you listen to this like Rickards guy, no wonder they're doing it because he's a fucking idiot. He's a government guy. And that's the government guys. He explains it in Chinese, so nobody understands it. oh, there's going to be inflation, there's going to be deflation, and the dollar's this and the dollar's that, and nobody will be working, so there'll be deflation because nobody will buy the products, which will lower the price. So what? What does that got to do with the money, with the currency? Lowering the price on goods, as I said, doesn't affect this. The only thing that affects it is you're printing it and nobody wants it. And the real competition to the dollar is gold. That should be the reserve currency, should be gold and silver. And nobody can fuck. The problem is all the crooks running all these countries don't want it because they can't print it. And so they want to have this so they can print millions, put it in their pocket before it goes to zero. That's why we don't have a gold standard, is because all the crooks in office. And that's really the problem, is getting these crooks out, but getting a system in that doesn't allow crooks in. Whoever wins the next election is going to be as crooked as the guy in there now. They're all crooks in every country. Trudeau in your Canada, and Macron in France, and Germany, and all these countries. I think Switzerland's pretty good, but most of these countries, what, you want to trust Z in China and the idiot in Japan and the and Putin? You want to trust those guys? I mean, that's what you can see is the problem. But they're the ones in charge, so they're electing themselves to life, and they ruin the country and they ruin the currency. And they're the ones buying the gold. And well, why does Putin have 20,000 tons of gold? Obviously, it's a good investment, or why would he own it? He wouldn't have any if it wasn't a good investment. Not even an investment. If he didn't think that's going to save him, he wouldn't have it. So if you just take Putin for that, or Xi with 60,000 tons in China, then you start realizing, what are they doing? Why, if it's no good, why would they do it? Because they know it's the savior of Rome. That's what's going to save them. And that's what Rome did. They had the gold and the silver, and then they started taking it off their coin. So the 1 ounce gold coin slowly became a half ounce, a quarter ounce, tenth of an ounce. Their gold coin turned into copper. And bye-bye Rome. And they were God. Why did they do that? Just corruption and idiots. And it's not, I mean, Adam Smith was very clear on what to do and have a gold standard, and our Constitution, 1776, only use gold and no central banks. And what do? We're not going to use gold and we'll have central banks. Well, what the fuck do you think they put it in there for? So they knew it. There should never be taxes. Why are we being taxed? What the fuck? We shouldn't be taxed. Government shouldn't be doing 90% of what they do. The private sector can do everything. That they can build bridges and roads. They can, schools should be private and not, dictated to as, this is how we're going to teach the class, which is killing the kids. One of the reasons I got divorced is I didn't want my kid to go to public school. I wanted to homeschool her. And my wife didn't want to. And that was one of the reasons, one of many, that we got divorced, because that was bullshit. I wanted to protect my kid. She didn't want to. So you know better. Go fuck yourself. Anyway, if I had a kid now, never go to school. I would teach, because I can teach her this. She'll learn 100 times more than anybody else who goes to public school and whatever they teach there. So understand, you're buying gold because the dollar is being inflated to zero. It'll go to zero. Believe me, the Venezuelans didn't think it would, we got inflation, that it was going to go to 400% and be worthless. But that's where they all end. Once nobody wants it, it's worthless. And nobody wants the dollar. They're all getting out of it. It doesn't matter, because we're inflating it to zero anyway. So it's going to eventually have no value. So we're just ahead of the game. We're buying gold and silver now at 2,000 an ounce before it hits 10,000 an ounce. How much gold are you going to buy at 10,000 an ounce? But at 2,000, you can afford a couple ounces anyway. And you're going to turn a 1 ounce for 2,000 into 1 ounce for 20,000. Seems like a good good strategy anyway. That's how you have to think. You have to understand where we're headed. You have to look down the road and realize that you can't keep holding this. This is going to zero. So it's not even an investment. It's not a risk. The risk is holding this, not getting out of this. And people thinking that, well, the dollar will never go anywhere are fooling themselves. Like I said, look at Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Greece. Now look at Venezuela, and you're going to look at Japan soon, and you're going to look at the euro. As they go out, they'll replace them with the new currency, which won't last because people are already going to be like, I don't know about this. And then what's going to happen? The new currency better be backed by gold or nobody's going to believe them. And that's what'll have to happen. Otherwise, everybody go, well, fuck, it's the same thing we had. I got to get out. And that's why I don't like when these other people on YouTube doing gold and silver, the economy, or Mike Maloney, who's a fucking idiot. I used to think he was good. I watched this video on the U.S. versus Russia versus Rome. And I said, the Roman Empire, that's a good thing. And I thought it was actually him doing it, but it wasn't. And then the more I listened to him, the more I realized he doesn't know anything. He's a Keynesian, and he has his charts, and he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand there's physical gold from paper gold. So I don't want you watching him because you're going to get bad information, and that's not going to be helpful. You're going to lose your money. And I'm trying to tell you what is happening so you can make your own decision. But then I say, well, this is what I'm doing. Like in football, I tell you the pick I make. So you know what I locked. I locked Minnesota on, what was it, Sunday, and it won. And yesterday I locked Tampa, but I didn't do a show. But I emailed Nick. I emailed Nick. I says, the lock today is Tampa Bay. McCullough's going. And it won. Today I didn't have a lock. But anyway, you look at the aces. But there's always a reason for doing everything. And I can explain it. But if the person you're listening to can't explain what they're fucking doing, don't stop listening. Because if it's confused, it's like Madoff. Well, I'm not going to tell you. If you have to ask, I won't tell you. I just walk away. Well, my dad's making good money. Well, then it's obviously a positive. As soon as I think my brother-in-law was getting into it, it had to be like 12, 13 years ago. And he was, I'm going to make 15%. And I got a master's in economics, and I'm going, and finance. I go, where are you going to make 15%? That's impossible. The banks were, let's say, 2%. So maybe you're in real estate trust making 7%. How the fuck are you making 15%? Well, it's something to do with shopping malls and everything. And I'm like, I wouldn't get into it because I knew there's no fucking way that's real. So I understood that because of my skill set, that it was not a real situation. It was fake. He lost his ass in it. I didn't even get involved because, it's like Michigan, Ohio State having a 30-point spread. What are you talking about? It can't be right having a 30-point spread. So that's my point. So if it sounds too good to be true, let's say this TCU game was even. Would that make any sense? TCU, Colorado even? I mean, you'd be all over TCU. That doesn't make sense. So 22, I'm not sure makes sense, but okay. They throw a number out there. But understand what you're doing and the reason you're doing it. You're doing this because it's going to zero. You're buying this at $50 a bottle before it goes to 80 because you really want this. Or you're buying your cornflakes now before the price goes up because inflation makes things cost more. Now, where they're trying to pass it on to the consumer, I just like they wanted nuts. I was at the grocery store. I wanted to get unsalted almonds. They were like $10. I said, "Fuck you! This is too expensive." So I went and got the other pack of almonds unsalted from the shelf. It was $6.99. I'll go, that's fine. That's what I'll pay for it. But you've got to be kidding. $10. So this is how you beat the inflation. You don't buy it. Like I told you about the ribs. So the ribs were $10, the short ribs. I like them. And they were $10. Then they went up to 15. When I came back from Alabama, I wouldn't buy them. Last Saturday I went, they were $12.95. All of a sudden, okay, now it's okay. It's down from 15. I can buy it. So I bought it, and I got like 2.5 pounds. It was like 30 some dollars. Okay, fine. But that's how you do it. When the price goes too high, you don't buy. Then they have to lower it, which they did. And look what Oreos are doing now. Buy 2, get 1 free. Coca-Cola, it's $3 a 2-liter. Well, buy 2, get 1 free, because they all know they're priced over market. You can't just because your costs go up, pass it on to the consumer. You either pass it on to the consumer or you can't, and then you start laying off. And that's what these guys are worried about. Deflation is the people getting laid off won't spend, and then all the prices will come down because they'll have to lower their price to make profit. But that doesn't make the value of the dollar stronger. That's just market. That's not anything. And that's what these Keynesians can't explain. They can see, well, that's deflation's bad. Prices are going down. Companies won't make as much. Well, in this situation, companies are lucky to stay alive. So yeah, I don't get what's wrong with that. So they think that the prices should just keep going up and up and up, and we should keep buying and let the economy keep growing. It doesn't work like that. There's one saying that I really hate. He says the answer for high prices is high prices. I don't understand that. I don't get it. He doesn't understand it. It's a stupid comment because it doesn't make any sense. So if Canadian Club is now $100 for the $50 bottle, the answer to high prices is high prices. Nobody has the money to pay the first 100. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, if you make your prices higher, you'll have earnings, maybe. So that they think where's people going to get the money? You're being taxed to death. The inflation's killing your value. Where are you going to get the money to do that? Are you insane? So these guys don't understand money. They don't understand that inflation is this. They think it's just higher prices. So now the prices are going to come down, and that's bad because the economy won't grow. No, that's just hitting the market. The market sits there and says what I'm going to pay. That's all it is. But these guys are clueless. They can't explain it. So walk away from people who can't explain it. Walk away from people who don't understand gold and don't tell you to buy it or tell you to buy stock. Walk away from people that don't understand there's a paper gold market and silver market and a physical gold and silver is where we're headed. So the 3,000 paper is versus a $30,000 going to 50, going to $100,000 gold physical market. The BRICS countries is going to make that gold physical market a reality. Gold's never been priced at a physical market. It's always been at this COMEX market. That's why it's never went anywhere. So when people are analyzing, well, the best gold is 2,500. That's the record on COMEX. That's not real. That's Disneyland. And we're talking the physical gold market, which is being created by BRICS to have the gold standard because nobody trusts Russia, China, or India. So they have to have the gold-backed currency so anybody can get in and trust them. then, because they don't even, if you think Russia and China trust each other, you're out of your minds. That's the point. So that's what you're looking for. Then we'll have physical price gold, not paper manipulated. I sold 1,000,000 ounces of gold that I don't have, or 1,000,000 ounces of silver, and silver at $23 an ounce is ridiculous. Should be far higher than that. I believe the mines keep it low because the mines should be charging more for it. The mines are the idiots here. If I'm running a silver mine, I ain't selling it for 23 an ounce. I'm selling it for, add a couple of zeros to the 23. You want my silver? It's 2,000 an ounce, buddy. These guys are fucking idiots, or it's just that's how corrupt it is, or they're getting kickbacks somewhere. I don't understand it, but that can't stay at 23. It's worth a lot more than 20. Like I said, it's supposed to be 10 to 1 to gold. So it should be at least 200. And again, the more I can buy at $27 an ounce, the more I'm buying. I don't care. And then eventually it'll be 10, 10 will buy me an ounce of gold eventually. But you want to buy as much gold as you can afford now. If you need to, buy quarters and halves instead of the dollar. So, maybe 1,100 for a half ounce, 600 for a quarter ounce. So for 1,700, you get 3/4 of an ounce. At least it gives you something, or you buy a couple of quarters. But be careful. You don't want to buy 4 quarter ounces at 600 each. It's 2,400 when you can buy an ounce for 21. So why pay 300 more if you can? Otherwise, buy a couple of quarters and then buy a bunch of silver. But silver, like this idiot today said, gold and silver. Well, you called me greedy, Andrew. So you're being greedy now. You're asking me for information that, why should I give it to you? I'm greedy. You insulted me. So I didn't like that. But that's so you got to be careful with it, but you do want to buy some. But, he said that the gold and silver, he tried to say, well, it's the gold standard, so gold will go really high. And what he doesn't understand is silver goes with gold. As gold goes up, silver goes up. They're not independent. They are very much connected. So if gold goes to 50,000, silver's coming along for the ride. They are connected. So you can't sit there and think that, it's the gold standard, and if I own silver, it's not going to go up. No, silver is money as well as gold is. And yes, when gold goes up, silver will jump up. And keep in mind, it's not going to be paper. It'll be physical. So silver will really run, because silver is very limited in supply and the demand's huge for both gold and silver, because people want to get out of dollars, the smart ones. So, and I agreed. What did I agree? I agreed I'm greedy? No, I asked you, what do you think greedy is? I said, I am greedy, but not in the way you think I'm greedy. Greed is good. And I don't know that I'd call myself greedy. I just think I'm smart. I think I'm successful and I'm smart, and I figured out how to bet football, and I understand finance and economics. So I don't even know what greedy is. In my mind, I'm just being smart, making money because of my skill sets. So I develop my skill sets and I make money at it. I don't know how that's greedy, nor what greed has to do with anything. So you think because I make money, I should not make money, not make any money, and how am I going to take care of my girlfriends like that? So what's the play? I'm not giving it to you. So anyway, that's the thing. If somebody's smart and he makes a lot of money, he's smart and he makes a lot of money. Why, I don't know what greed is, but it's not a good term to use for somebody. So somebody makes 500,000. Are you jealous of him? Is he greedy because he makes a lot of money? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So what if I made money? That's why I buy gold and silver. I got girlfriends to take care of. I got to live. I mean, the money's going to zero, so I got to get it into gold and silver. So what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I don't understand. I told you I'd retire as soon as gold goes up, but it's not a matter of enough or not enough. There's a movie called Other People's Money with Danny DeVito and the guy from the Guns of Navarone. And he sees the company's book value is 25 a share, which is really like 50 a share. And the stock's selling for 10. So he buys the stock at 10, knowing it's worth 25. And, they go, well, why don't you go away? I don't want to sell it to you. I'll give you a couple $1 million. He says, it's not enough. I can make $30 million here. Is he greedy? No, he's being smart. He knows if something's worth 25 and he's buying it for 10, it's like me buying a Montana rookie card for $10 that's worth $100,000. Am I being greedy? I'm being smart. I know the value. That's what I'm doing with gold. I know it's not 2,000 an ounce. I know it's at least 30, 40,000. Eventually, it's not going to be priced in dollars. It's going to go buy a house by itself. It'll be the price. Is that greedy that I'm buying gold and silver because I know it's so far underpriced it's a joke? No, that's my skill set going. The alarms are going off in my head going, every time I go to the gold store and I can get an ounce of silver for $27, I just laugh. And the guy goes, oh, sorry, we had to raise the price. It's 28. And I just laugh. I'm like, dude, this is a $2,000 ounce. I'm buying for $27. I'm fine. They don't believe me. They are too stupid to listen. This is the story I told you about my bookie in, I don't know, 1980 or so. And I hit like 17 games on a Saturday. And he says, oh, the FBI's, no, I went 21 out of 22 on the college rivalry weekend, Washington State, Oregon. I played all the dogs. They all won. I went 21-1, made a ton. And my bookie goes, oh, Howard, my phones are being tapped by the FBI. I can't take you anymore. And I said, well, why don't you just bet my picks, you idiot? Because he didn't trust that I knew what I was doing. He thought I was lucky, or if he starts betting me, he's going to lose. He didn't understand what he had. He had the golden goose, and he's telling me to go away. And this is how stupid he is. But this is what I'm saying. The same thing with gold. Buy the fucking gold and silver because it's going to go up. I'm as sure of that as I was on the football games. And that's the point. And you can either listen or, think, well, I don't know what I'm talking about, and off you go. But you could make a fortune right now. But I've done that my whole life, Andrew. I'm probably up, I don't know, 600,000-700,000 betting football since I was maybe 16 years old. So, I mean, it's just been, it's a natural, I can just figure it out. I just see it. I can tell the teams and I can get off teams. I don't have a favorite team. So when Montana's on I have a favorite player. So when Montana's on the Niners, I'm betting the Niners. When Jimmy Johnson's at Miami of Florida, I'm betting Miami of Florida. When he goes to the Cowboys, I'm betting the Cowboys. When when Lawrence Taylor's on the Giants, I'm betting him under every week, or the Bears, or So I'm betting the player, and then it's not as much Brady. Brady didn't cover all that much. Peyton Manning was the biggest choke, but that's what I'm looking for. Now you got Mahomes. I really like Joe Burrow. I think he'll be like a Montana, so I can bet him to win. And he's, especially as a dog, I see him as a dog, I just light up going, fuck, let's jump on it. But that's how I am. I don't have it, but I'm able to adjust. And then I see the next player, here's Mahomes and Burrow, and I jump on them. That's the key to it. You can't look at a team. You don't give a fuck about the team. I give a fuck about Mahomes. And if Mahomes gets traded to Denver, or he goes to San Francisco, or he goes to Miami, that's who I'm betting on. I'm betting on the player. And so as these players go to different teams, but I'm picking them up in college, so I know by the time they're done with college what they're going to do. I can see Montana at Notre Dame going, this guy's great. I knew that right away. Brady, I didn't see because he didn't play much, so he was a surprise. Andrew, excessive desire for more, generalized statement. You live in an apartment. Yeah, I do. I live in an apartment because I'm waiting to buy a house. I didn't want to buy a house because it's going to lose its value. So as soon as gold goes up, I'll buy a house with the gold. I had a nice house. I got divorced, and I'm in an apartment. So what? Why buy an expensive house when it's going to go down in value? I look at things financially. So I can afford a house, but there's no point in it. And I work from home, so I'm fine. I go out, I travel a lot, so we'll see where I end up. I might move to Vegas. I might move to Florida. I might move to Spain or Portugal. So I don't really want to be tied down, to answer your question. No, they're not. Houses are going down. Maybe in Canada, but not in the rest of the world. Look at China, the housing markets have crashed. Here, the housing market's crashing. I'm sure it's crashing in Canada too. The interest rates drive it down. 225,000 8 years ago, yeah. But let's talk about 2 years ago. Where was the price? Yeah, your house is worth 50,000, so it went from 225 to 50. Okay, so let's say you meant 500. Where was it 2 years ago? So let's not go back 8 years. Yeah, I get 500. So what was it 2 years ago? Let's get into reality here. Okay, so has it gone up the last 2 years? No. Try to sell it for 500. You won't be able to because the interest rates are too high. Guess what? All right. And can you get 500,000 for it? Or are you saying you sold it for 500? What are your interest rates in Canada? Sold in 2 days. And what are your interest rates? Okay, here they're 10%. So that's a big difference. I don't know how your interest rates aren't higher. That doesn't make sense with your inflation. Inflation makes interest rates higher because you want to get paid in that currency. So you bought a new house at 475, but what did you sell? So the guy who bought your house paid 475 for it, or paid 500 for it, and his new mortgage is 475. And then you got to find a house, and you're going to lose a lot of money on your house. So in 2 years, your house went from 500 to 500. It didn't go up. So I don't get your point about houses are going up. They're not going up. If they're going up, you'd have sold it for 600. You're missing the point, Andrew. The price of houses are about to get killed because the foreigners have all the money in them, and they're going to pull their money once they realize the U.S. is inflating. I can't imagine Canada's inflation figures are any better. So now I'm going to go look for inflation in Canada. Canada's inflation rate. The inflation rate for consumer prices in Canada moved over the past 62 years between 0.2% and 12%. For 22, an inflation rate of 6.8 was calculated, so it's probably about 15%. From 1960 to 2020, the average rate was 3.8 overall. The price increase was $8.86. So inflation in Canada, well, that's only 2028. All right, so inflation in 2019 was 195, then 0.72. 2021 was 3.4. 2022 was 6.8. So I would imagine 2023 is much higher. And then they're saying, oh, it'll be 239 and 24, 188. And these guys are so full of shit. Inflation rate, yeah. Okay, so if you believe this shit, it's probably like 15%. Because you guys are printing money just like everybody else. New house moving in September. Real estate's booming. Something doesn't make sense there. Why do you renew every 5 years? You're going to get caught because it's going to drop. And if it's booming, why did it go from 500,000 2 years ago to 500,000 now? Inflation makes interest rates go up, which is going to make it very hard for you to sell because, or for you to buy, because you want to buy what, a $500,000 home, and then you're going to sell it. You're going to pay 10% interest on it, and that's going to make it not worth as much. It's going to make your payment much higher. You already bought it. And how much is, well, I don't want to, it's being built. Okay. And was it 500,000 or did you pay more for it? Or about the same? And you're locking in 4.75. Yeah, you'll be lucky to get 300,000 for it. Being built 700. So you're buying a $700,000 home in at 4.75. Yeah, I get it. 4.75 is your mortgage locked in. Yeah, so that's a pretty penny. That's a pretty penny mortgage rate. What are you going to do when the inflation hits? I'm going to come in with an ounce of gold and I'm going to buy your house. Because you'll take anything then once your dollar goes to zero. And don't kid yourself. This is not the only dollar going to zero. Every fiat currency is going to zero. You're being bullshitted by Marcon or Trudeau about your inflation, right? It's government doing the statistics, and you're trusting government, which is your first problem. So don't kid yourself when inflation starts heating up in Canada like the rest of the world. You think Canada is immune to it? Mm-mm. You put $400,000, he's out soon. Okay. So why do you ask me for free picks? Who's the greedy one now? You got all this money and you don't want to pay for a pick? Then you knock me because I win? And then you beg for free picks? That's ridiculous, Andrew. Well, it's greedy because you're not going to the market. You got to pay for my football picks like everybody else. I can't give you free picks when I charge everybody else. But you want me to give you my lock for nothing as if you have no money and you have a lot of money. So you should pay like you pay your accountant and your attorney and your water bill and your food. This is another service. If you want it, you got to pay for it. Why should I give it to you for free when I got customers that pay me for it? You don't pay for picks, then you don't get picks. You got winners too. Are you a picker? Do you handicap? I don't get that from you. But you ask me for my pick as if you don't have money for it. and we've talked about that before. You're like, oh, I don't have money, and you want them all for free. So you want my picks for free, and I'm like, I can't give them away when people are paying for them. So if you were paying for my pick and I gave it to somebody else, you'd be like, well, what the fuck am I paying for if you're giving them away? So I can't give it away, but you should pay for it if you want them. Worth a try, sure do. I give you tennis picks. House broke, family, food, car, insurance. Oh, come on. If you're broke, you're not buying $700,000 houses. What's your mortgage payment? $3,000? Okay, so why do you ask me about my money and my apartment? I have the same expenses as you. Only I got 3 girlfriends with families that I help feed and pay rent to, as well as buying the gold and silver and everything else. So why would you criticize me for making money betting sports, which is almost impossible to do, and having a job? And you pick on me, and then look at you. It's an investment. No, it isn't. You think it's an investment, not now. You're not understanding what's happening in the economy because you're making big dollars. Well, I assume you're making big dollars if you're buying a $700,000 house. You got to have at least a $3,000 a month payment. So why would you do that to yourself? You think so? You just think it's going to go from 700 to $1 million, and you're going to make your money in real estate. And I'm telling you, what I would do is I would have bought a $400,000 house, put the $300,000 in gold, and you have no risk. You're going to make a fortune, but you want to play risk. Oh, you still have a risk. What if it's only worth 400,000? What if it's not worth anything? What if there's no buyers because the interest rates become 10, 15% and nobody can afford your house? But you could have put your 400,000 into gold and guaranteed that you're a billionaire from the gold with no risk. So why would you want all this risk? You don't understand. It's the foreigners who are driving up the price, probably the Chinese and probably some Europeans. It's probably Chinese and Russians who are driving the price up. But as they leave the market because of your dollar being so weak, and let's not forget, you're 75, my dollar, your dollar's worth 75 cents to my dollar. That's a weak ass dollar because my dollar is worthless. So people are going to realize that it's not just Canadians buying houses. It's not Americans buying the houses here. It's the Chinese, the Russians, the Europeans, the Asians who are buying the houses here. And as they realize the dollar's going broke, they're going to sell them all. And there ain't going to be buyers, and it's going to be in Canada too. This is what I try to tell you, but you're not listening. So you think you're in a safe haven. If I had 400,000 put on a down payment, it would be in gold and silver. I wouldn't waste it in a house. You'll be lucky to get your money out. We'll talk after the shit hits the fan, and then your $700,000 house is going to be worth 300,000, and your gold that you could have had is going to be worth 5 million. And you're not getting that. You're not understanding that. You think your house will just keep going up. You think your figures are accurate, that your inflation's that low. And I'm saying that's bullshit. You're doing the same thing. You have this. You have the Titanic, right? Your dollar is as bad as my dollar, is as bad as the euro, is as bad as the Swiss franc, the British pound, the yen, the yuan, and everything else because it's fucking printed. So you trust Trudeau, the biggest crook there is, you're trusting him to give you honest statistics. And you think, oh, I'm Canada. We don't fuck around. We got gold mines. You have gold mines, but you don't have the gold. What are you doing with the gold mines? Does the Canadian central bank buy the gold? No. You have no gold in the central bank. Your mines are owned by Newmont Mining, who sells it probably to the rest of China, Russia, and the rest of the world. Are probably that's who you're selling to. It's not going to Canada. It's not like, oh, it's your gold. It's being sold. That's what's happening. Sold in 2 days, 6 showings in 2 days, seller's market. On a international front, it will go up. My house currently 8 years ago. Yeah, I know 8 years ago, but I asked you 2 years ago, and you bought it for 500 and you sold it for 500. Did you really make 249,000? Are you taking into account the inflation? The fact that your 249,000 is probably worth 100,000, right? You're not understanding inflation. The value of your dollar is getting killed. It's not worth anything. So, to quote my Warren Buffett problem he's having, he's got $2 billion in US dollars. So when the dollar goes to zero, he'll have 2 billion times zero, he'll have $0. You made money, but you made inflated dollars. You're missing the point. You're still in dollars, which is not having value. The Canadian dollar is no stronger than the euro or the Swiss franc or the British pound or the US dollar. It's not. It's printed. You don't have it backed by gold. You're missing the whole point of the conversation. That's what I'm telling you. You think you made 250 with inflation. You didn't make 250,000. You're lucky if you made 100. And now that 100, now you're buying a $700,000 house, which in 2 years will be worth 400,000 with inflation, because the value of your 700 is not 700 anymore. It's getting killed. That's why you need to be out of money. You need to be in gold. So I would not have put down 400 grand. I would have put it in the gold and silver, where I know I can't lose, because you can't print it. You can't inflate it. And the way it's going to be worth 50 times the value. That's a sure bet. It's going to go up. Your house is not going to go up. You're already losing because you're in Canadian dollars. I did have it appraised 2 years ago. With it, brought the principal down on my new house. No, you're missing the point. The point is you're paying 700,000 in inflated dollars. So really you don't have 700. The house isn't worth 700. It's worth 700 inflated dollars. And so if we translate that, let's do a little exercise. So we'll translate it into US dollars. All right. So Canadian dollars. So $1 buys me 134 Canada. So you're about 70. Let's invert it. So we'll call that. So $1 buys you 75 cents US. So let's make it 700,000. That only gets you 520,000 US. And the US dollar is being inflated, so that 500,000 is probably worth about 300,000. So you're worth about 300,000 in reality, because your Canadian dollar isn't worth shit, right? One Canadian dollar only buys you 75 cents American, so that's 3/4. So in reality, you just bought a $522,000 house, of which maybe you got a year before ours goes to zero, and that means yours goes to zero. This is the key point you're missing. That's why I told Bobby and Nick, and that's why I don't have a house, is because they're all going to go broke. They're all going to zero. So therefore, I'm waiting until it collapses. Gold goes up, then I buy a house. Then you can say, oh, yeah, you're in a house. Who the fuck cares? I don't want the worry and the maintenance right now. I just assume it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the gold and silver I have, not that I have a house or an apartment. I don't really give a fuck. It's not important to me. I'm not married right now. I don't need the house. When I get with my Russian girl, and then we'll buy a house, but I don't have a reason. I was in a $400,000 house before. Does that make you feel better? When I was married, I'm divorced. I don't want a house. I don't need one. U.S. is irrelevant. I'm in Canada. Oh, really? We're the reserve currency. So you don't think your Canadian dollar... In Canada, we're all in the same vote with the value of the dollar. U.S. dollar has nothing to do with it. So you think that the Canadian dollar is not being inflated and won't lose its value? Is this what you think? But yet the Canadian dollar is only worth 75 cents U.S. So you think your dollar is backed by gold? You think your dollar is not going to inflate like every other dollar in the world? Houses won't. You watch the housing market in China, it collapsed. You're going to watch the housing market in the U.S., it's going to collapse. It's happening as people realize the dollar's bullshit. They'll start selling their houses and the market's going to collapse. You're next. It's happened in China, a lot bigger country than Canada. And it's going to happen here, and it's going to happen with you, because the foreigners are going to pull out their money and they're going to sell the houses, and the whole market's going to collapse. This is the part you're not understanding. Houses won't lose their value. Yes, they will, because foreigners own the houses. You got a lot of Chinese, I know, in Toronto. I don't know what you got in Ottawa or Montreal. I guess a lot of Frenchies, but I'm sure they're Europeans. As the dollar goes, they don't want to get caught. They're going to sell their assets that are U.S., and in your case, Canada. It's not all Canadians that own that. Why do you think your house is going up in value? Who do you think's buying it? All of a sudden, everybody in Canada is buying houses? I mean, most of the people who are buying the houses here are not U.S. citizens. Most of the people who are buying the houses in Canada are not Canadians. So when they realize the dollar's going out, first of all, do you think anybody's running out of U.S. dollars in the Canadian dollars? At 75 cents? You're 75 cents to our dollar. You think that's good? You're not even at par. The euro is 91 cents. They're going broke. The pound is I think 80 cents. They're going broke. You're $1.34 to their 80 and 90 cents. So your dollar's worthless. Who's holding? So they're buying the houses in yours cheap because your dollar's so cheap. Like I said, it's only $500,000 I'd have to pay for your house. That puts it at par, but my $500,000 isn't going to be worth anything. As the inflation hits and my dollar goes out, which is what's going to happen very soon, everybody's going to lose everything. I'll be in my apartment going, oh, now I think I'll buy that house. Here's an ounce of gold. That's my plan. That's what I'm thinking. You're missing the whole point here. Buying this house now, you're in a dilemma, because if you didn't sell your house now, you wouldn't be able to sell it, or you'd be getting it for $200,000. Then you'd be telling me how you lost $50,000 on it. And then what are you going to do? You're okay. So now you bought a $700,000 house. You think you put $400,000 out, you're protected. Wait till, okay, you're fixed in your mortgage, but your dollar's not going to be worth anything. Your inflation is got to be higher than ours, at least as high, because you're not backing it by anything, and you got to pay for your free socialized medicine. Where's that money come from? That's all taxes. You don't think your government's printing money hand over fist? I guarantee it is, and I guarantee it isn't backed by gold. So your premise is the same as the premise I've been teaching for the last year, which is basically the money is not backed by anything, gets printed to zero. This has got to be your dollar. You'll be lucky if it's worth this much from your dollar. Why do you think the house costs $700,000? I mean, because these dollars are worthless. The house that's $700,000 should probably be $200,000. So you don't even get that the price of your house is up. Is it up by inflation or is it up by demand? That question you need to answer. So if it's up because everybody wants your house and there's huge demand for it, then that's one thing. If you can't answer that, then it's up because of inflation. Now you're really fucked because it went up to 500 because the currency lost its value. Now you had to pay 700,000 for a house, and you put 400 grand into it instead of buying gold and silver with it. And you'll realize you made a huge mistake. Supply and demand. Oh, I can't wait for this logic. So oil prices fell, supply and demand. So you think there's demand for the housing, that's why it went up? Really? Okay. So everybody wants a house. Where are they coming from? Is there new people moving into Ontario? From where? China? You're getting all the communist China to move in, creating the demand. You're still missing the point. Well, I know they moved into Toronto. I had a cousin there, was my wife's cousin, and she bought a house and it would go up a couple $100,000 every 6 months. Her 400,000 went up to 7, went up to $1 million. It was all the red Chinese coming from China buying all the houses. And, I don't know where she's at now, but that was bullshit too. Selling $1 million condos. Yeah, I know. But again, once the dollar goes out, it won't be worth anything. This is the point you're missing, is the value of the dollar dropping. So they're moving out of Toronto, moving to Ottawa. And that's what you think's creating the demand for your house to go up. Maybe. They all have $700,000, $500,000 to afford for a house. These are all IT people coming. Immigration. We got a lot of immigration here too. It's not going to help. All the Mexicans fleeing into the country illegally. But you would have built more houses, wouldn't you? Increase supply to cover demand. Say's law. So if my demand's going up, I'm going to build more houses. So you're saying you're not building houses. I disagree with that. I think you certainly would. Do you see building going up? Is there more houses being built, creating to equal the demand? Yeah, okay. So you're saying all the people from Toronto are moving to Ottawa, that they can replace their job because they're working remotely and they can't keep up. I follow. But you think your dollar's safe. And I know your dollar is not safe. I know your dollar is going to zero, so is my dollar. Government what? What about government? Are you going to tell me you trust the government? They can't keep up with the supply of houses, government jobs. Okay, so when the government goes bankrupt, then what's going to happen? You're going to have mass unemployment. And the housing values are going to go down. So all the government jobs are in Ottawa. Is that where the government is? But you're still missing the point. The inflation's driving your dollar to zero. So while your house goes up, but the value is going to go down because interest rates will go up because of the inflation. Government jobs in Ottawa and Toronto, I get it. Problem with that is they don't, you're missing the inflation point. The inflation ruins the dollar. I get all that. Yeah, look at California now. Silicon Valley and San Francisco's in a mess. California's in a mess. And government jobs aren't real jobs. They're just bullshit jobs. But that doesn't even matter. It's the fact is your dollar is not going to have value. Your housing market's going to crash because the interest rates for the inflation is going to go up. And then they won't be able, people are going to sell their houses because they're going to need money because they're going to lose their jobs because of the inflation. If the people aren't working, the government lays off. So right now it's big. I'm not seeing the humor here. So big government salaries and okay. Government last to cut. Government gets paid. If there's no money, there is no government. And as people lose their job, the government will make cuts too, because the government needs the taxes to pay for the free health care. And if nobody's working, they're going to have to cut because they can't print money because it's already going to zero. Well, if people aren't working, there is no tax dollars, is there? There is no, they need us working to pay taxes to be able to pay the government workers. No, it's not a recession, it's a depression. You don't get it. Inflation's going to kill everybody. That's why the gold and silver is so important because it won't lose value. All the currencies are losing their value. I would never have put 400 grand down. I'd have bought gold and silver with at least 300 of it. Then you'd be protected. Then it would go up in value when the shit hits the fan. And if you don't think Canada is immune to the inflation for the whole world, and your dollar that's not backed by anything is going to survive when every other dollar is going to go under, you're crazy. That's not going to happen at all. That will not. No, there won't be a recession. We're already in a recession. There'll be a depression. Buy my house will be worth $1 million in less than 5 years. No thanks. I'll probably move to Europe. I don't want to live in a socialism country. Maybe Switzerland, something a little more safe. I'll have to see about Portugal, but Canada, I don't like socialism. Socialism is very bad. Guarantee? Well, I hope so for you. Why what? I just explained. Why? What's your question? You can't just say why. I talk about many things. So say, why will this happen or that happen? So one thing I know, gold's at 1963 COMEX. Physical will add at least 1 0 to it. Why Europe? I don't know, better lifestyle. Maybe not social. I can find maybe not a socialist country there, although they're all pretty socialist. Google earned Pryor, Ontario. 4 major builders in town of 15,000 people. No, well, I mean, good for them, but you missed the point. The point is inflation. The point is your dollar going to zero. Your dollar isn't equal to ours, and ours is being heavily inflated. So you're missing that point. Your dollar's less than this, going to zero. So then what do? Your house that's worth 700, 800, 900,000 isn't worth anything because there's no value because there's no money. This is the point you're missing. There is the dollar, your dollar, our dollar is gone. I give it maybe 6 months. Your dollar is very close to that. I mean, how your dollar, the bullshit they're paying, you got 2% inflation. Are you kidding me? That's just bullshit. You have massive inflation because you got to pay for free medical. Where does that money come from? They print it. I mean, this is just bullshit. Canada's inflation, yeah. See, even this is wrong. It says Canada's 4.4, the US is 4.9. Well, we know ours is 15, so yours has got to be close to 15. Anyway, they're just selling you a basket of goods. I mean, you keep talking around the subject, Andrew, but you're not understanding the subject. The subject is inflation. It's your dollar being devalued by being printed to pay for your free medical and all the government jobs and your the pensions and Social Security, whatever you have there needs to be paid. The fact you have high paying IT jobs. We have Silicon Valley here too. We have high paying IT jobs. That doesn't mean the dollar doesn't lose its value, because the dollar does lose its value. And that's the part you must understand. It's the dollar going to zero. Forget your economics. You must understand this. Canadian dollar cannot be in any better shape than the US, and you're only worth 75% of our dollar. So your dollar buys 75 cents of us. Okay, and our dollar is gone. We hit the iceberg. We're in the water. We're getting on the lifeboat, the gold lifeboat. Otherwise, we're fucked. And you're not far behind it. Don't you understand? Whatever happens to us is going to happen to you 10 times as hard. So while you think your housing market's good and you're laughing at me for being in an apartment, I'll get the last laugh because then I can buy a new house with an ounce of gold, and you're going to lose the value of your house because there won't be any money and your interest rates will be through the roof. And once your interest rates, you're at 4.75, I mean, they'll be 10%, they'll be 20%. They'll have to go up with the inflation. So you got to understand your inflation. How much money? Why don't you go look up how much money is being printed by the whatever you call your Federal Reserve, Bank of Canada, I guess. I mean, You're in a socialized country. There's no way your dollar's not gone before mine, and mine's gone already. So you're missing the big picture. You think you're safety in a house. You don't have safety in a house. I can't believe you put $400,000 down and you didn't put a couple hundred into gold. I'm absolutely stunned. But you don't listen to me, so I don't know what to tell you. You know more than I do, I guess. I'm greedy. You're not. Okay. I'm stupid. I live in an apartment. Okay. What can I say? You know more than me. Why don't you do a show and then you can talk about it? You're in big trouble, basically. You made the wrong move and you didn't talk to the professor. That's your biggest problem. All right. With that, I'm going to go to sleep because I got to get up for work. It's 12 and I got to be up 7:30ish. And I don't have to drive to work. I get to work from home. So anyway, all right. Have a nice night. www.teaserking.com. If you want to email me, you can get my email there. All right. Thanks. Take care. Have a nice night.